Round one. Fight!
Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to Tier Ranker Fights, episode number 36. We're going to be having a little bit of a palate cleanser, for me at least, for doing all the horror series we have been doing and will be still doing through the month of October. But we'd like to kind of switch it up and to do a wide range of different topics and categories. So tonight the topic is best 2000s comedy movies. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our panel for tonight. So joining me tonight we have my co-host Austin Pez Howell. How's it going?
Jordan, is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
Maybe so. we'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah, right. But yeah, and then we have a couple returning panelists and a couple first timers. So we'll introduce our next two guests coming in together. Christy V and Anthony Tisdall. How's it going?
Hi, guys. I'm ready for bed, but I love these movies, so I'll stay up for you guys.
Awesome.
Yay.
Well, we appreciate it.
I've been here a few times before. This is always fun, but I have work in like 45 minutes, so I wanted to join up for at least a little bit, get one or two of my pays.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. So and then we also have returning guest Malcolm Lay. How's it going?
Doing pretty good. I love comedy, and there's definitely a few ones here that I'm definitely going to hope make it in.
Yeah.
Probably just a few. We only have a few on the list. Like the list is about this big.
Right.
And one of the smaller lists we've ever had.
Yeah. A lot, yeah. But then we also have another first timer on the panel, Nick Harley. How's it going?
What's up? Yo. Happy to be here with my Stars faction mate Christy V, ready to talk some comedies. Because if there's anything that I can laugh about more than the Stars season, it's these movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right. It's all about next season, right? Next season's gonna be like awesome for you guys, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see if I'm even on it next year.
Right. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. You never know. Anything can happen. So yeah, but yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll jump into it. So we have a little some kind of loose rules that we have to kind of keep some order to the chaos. So I'll just kind of throw those up on screen, and I'll kind of explain how everything's going to work tonight. But basically, the rules are: let's have a good, clean fight. Please do not talk or shout over each other. Please do be respectful of others' opinions. Each person will take turns to select a movie for ranking. The person who selected the movie will have 1 minute to explain which tier they think it should go into and why. All the participants will then have 1 minute to say why they agree or disagree and may suggest a new ranking. And then at that point, the host, which is me, will decide on a ranking that basically averages out everyone's thoughts and opinions. We can have a little bit of a debate too at that point too. Like I'm not the only deciding factor. We all decide together, and then we just propose if it's acceptable, and then we just move on to the next person, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty simple format. So I'll go ahead and I'll bring up the chart here, our tier ranker chart. Give me 1 second. All right. Let's see. Should be popping up with my slow computer. Bear with me for a second. That didn't come up. Let me try it one more time, I guess. For some reason that didn't pop up. Should come up now.
I can see the circle.
Come on.
Ways we never dreamed of.
Oh,
Let's
yeah. There we
do
go.
it.
Okay. Now it's working. Yeah. So, basically, and I'm going to actually put it down here, and you can see some of the things. I'm going to put it in presentation mode so we remove all the ads. But basically how it works, though, so we go around the horn. Each person will suggest one for the ranking, and then you have S for superior, and then it just goes like grades in school: A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yeah, remember those E grades in school?
Oh yeah, yeah. Since we had so many, I just threw in an E grade because we got a lot tonight. But there's also a case to be made that some of these might actually not be a comedy, so we could throw it there. And then we have a rule that at least 3 of us on the panel have to have seen the movie for it to count, and if not, we got to throw it in the haven't seen category. And then also we only allow 10 picks in the S tier, so we got to be pretty picky about it. But then tomorrow over in the Shoutout Friends and Family group that I run, we're going to throw up our top 10 plus 3 honorable mentions. So the top 3 from the A tier are going to go in a little poll, and then everyone from the community can vote on which ones they like or dislike or whatever they want to do. If they want to yell at us and tell us we got it right or wrong or just whatever, then that'll be there tomorrow. So, but yeah, that's pretty much how it's going to work. And
I think Anthony, we'll go up the ladder, but I think Anthony, when we get to you, we'll give you a couple of picks since you gotta bump out, pretty soon after your picks. So we'll give you a couple just to throw them out there. Fair enough.
That seems fair.
All right.
Yeah. So,
well, we'll start down with Nick.
Oh man, first pick.
And if
you can pick whatever you want.
All right,
whatever ranking.
I'm calling my shot here. I'm going to start with my absolute favorite movie on this list, and that is Zoolander. I'm going to pick Zoolander. I am saying that Zoolander.
Fellow Zoolander fan.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that Zoolander is.
I'm not gonna find it.
I'm calling my shot. I'm saying S tier right away. I'm saying that Zoolander is an S tier comedy, and I'll tell you why. First of all, from just a socio-political aspect, Zoolander is a perfect snapshot of pre 9/11 New York City and celebrity in general. If there are so many funny, like time-specific cameos in this movie, whether it be Fred Durst or Gary Shandling or let's say Billy Zane. Who could ever forget about the Billy Zane cameo? But not only does it represent like a very specific and weird area of time in celebrity culture and pop culture in general, but the movie is just bulletproof, so funny. It's one of those movies that you will find new things to laugh about every time you watch it. Endlessly quotable. I've watched this film. It's probably my most watched movie, sadly. And I never get sick. I never get sick of it. And any movie that has David Bowie getting a cameo where he has a freeze frame that they put his name on the screen, how can that not be an S tier film? From the Derek Zoolander Center for Kids Who Can't Read Good to the jokes about the walk off. I just think that Zoolander is an absolute classic. It's Ben Stiller's probably his finest comedy, and I think that this is without a doubt an absolute classic from this era, celebrating its 20th birthday this year. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, awesome. Malcolm, what do you think for Zoolander?
Yeah, I do not like Zoolander. It's F easily for me.
F. Oh man, that's harsh. Yeah. All right. Well, guess that's all that needs to
Christy?
be said. Christy.
Anthony?
I've never seen this movie because it looks stupid AF, so I'll just defer to Anthony.
You're
Yeah,
not
what do you
wrong. This movie is stupid AF, but it is not F tier in any way, shape, or form. Malcolm, my God, that's rough. Nick, you have a very odd love for this movie. I find it very funny. I think it's very entertaining. I don't think it's S tier, maybe A, maybe B, low A, high B. It has a lot of good moments, a lot of great cameos. I mean, just pretending to do Blue Steel is always entertaining when you're just wandering around pretending to model. But it's just, I don't think it's as high as some of the other ones on here. But I get the love for it. It does have a little too many moments of, this is so stupid, and these two are so dumb. It becomes kind of painful. But I want to say S, but A or B, low A, high B would be my side.
All right. Well, Austin, what do you think?
I also do not like Zoolander at all. I've tried to like this movie. I've tried over and over to try to get it. The characters are too stupid for me. Like I can't get behind characters who don't understand how things work.
They're supposed to be.
No, like it's like Chris Hemsworth in that Ghostbusters movie. Like when they don't understand how the world works, like it's too stupid to get behind. And I've tried over and over again to enjoy this. I don't. I go back to it every couple of years, and it just doesn't work for me. I think it works as an okay satire, but as an actual funny movie, it doesn't work. It's not an F level for me. There's other movies on this list that are F, but it's like a D for me. I really don't like it.
Man, you guys are breaking my heart because I freaking love Zoolander, and I'm actually glad to have somebody else that actually loves this movie as much as I do, because this movie is S tier all the way for me, and like it. Just because, like the point is that everyone's supposed to be stupid. It's like all these models are not smart, and there's just so many quotes they're just off the wall. Like at the funeral scene when he's like, Brent and Meekus were like brothers to me. When I say brothers, I mean it like the way black people do, because I think it's more meaningful that way. He's just so stupid he doesn't get it, you know. So like get how that could be offensive to someone. So yeah, like it's just like for me, like it just cracks me up. Like I just love stupid humor if it's done in the right way, and for me, this is done in the right way. So I'm gonna say S tier because I love it. And also too, not to say really anything about Zoolander 2 because that movie is atrocious, but me and one of my best friends that dressed up as Zoolander and Hansel, because I was working at a movie theater at the time. So for the premiere of Zoolander 2, we dressed up for that, and even got my hair dyed, and I got a sparkly zebra print suit to wear and everything. So
and you didn't wear it tonight?
A lot of fun. No, because I just rented the suit, so I don't even have it anymore.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. But anyways, so where we at, Austin? You're kind of keeping track of like the averages. You know?
2 S's, an A minus, a D, and an F, and that's going to drag it down a lot. So it's not going to make the S tier with only 2 S level votes. You need about 4 S tier votes to negate any kind of D's or F's, and that's not going to do it, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. Well, it's going to be at least like a B, I feel like. I mean, that kind of thing. With 2 S's, I mean.
Seems fair.
I mean, maybe.
It'd be like a B
like,
minus. Yeah.
I feel bad for how many people shit on this movie for Nick, so I think B's fair. Let's not move it any lower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like shocked,
seen it,
you know.
Yeah, same. I'm a huge fan of this movie, and also too, this is like me and one of my best friends go to movie that we watch over and over on repeat. We watch kind of similar movies. Watch this and Night at the Roxbury. They're kind of a similar vibe.
I mean, and I get that it's stupid, but I think that comedies are. I think you can toe the line between being like, yes, obviously this is a very stupid movie, but there's a tier that I think that's like so stupid that it's smart, that the jokes are really well written to a point that they're knowingly stupid, but they have some bite to them, and yeah, and I also think this movie is like weirdly ambitious with the plot line. Yeah, I won't harp on it too much longer. I know you guys don't like it. I will settle with a B. I will settle with a B.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll move on to the next. Malcolm, you're up next. So, what do you want to pick?
I'm not going to go straight for an S-tier movie. There was this movie that was added on the very last minute that I really don't think should have been in contention. I'm putting Dickie Roberts' former child star in F tier.
F tier. Oh man. I don't want to add it for fun. It's a guilty pleasure. I figure we're adding almost everything, so I just added it. But yeah, what do you think? Why would you say F?
I mean, look, we talked about this when we did worst movies ever made. All my thoughts are over there anyway on that episode, but it's just really boring, not funny. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing good about this movie.
Yeah. Well, Christy, what do you think?
Oh, I have seen this movie. This is a terrible time. This is I never really agree with Malcolm. But Malcolm, I'm gonna need you to have my back soon, so I'm gonna have your back here, and I will put this as F tier because this.
I've always got your back.
I will take Joe Dirt trash over this.
Joe Dirt's
Really?
brilliant.
Ooh.
This is flaming hot garbage that someone took a dump on. Anthony, it's your turn.
Yeah. What do you think?
I kind of concur with everything she said. David Spade was good when he was with Chris Farley, and then kind of took a really hard downturn with a lot of the movies. And this one is pretty much one of the worst, if not the worst one he's in. So F. You know what? Put it in not a comedy because it's not even funny.
Sure. Yeah. Well, Austin, what do you think?
I can't agree more with what's been said. It tries so hard to just throw as many cameos as possible in there to try to squeeze any kind of life out of it. It is way below even something like Joe Dirt for David Spade, which is infinitely better than this movie in comparison. This movie is a slog. It feels 3 hours long, even though it's an hour and a half, just because every scene is painful. And it's F. And Jordan's going to tell us why it's an S level movie and why it's amazing.
No, it's definitely not an S-level movie, but I mean, for me, it's just more of a guilty pleasure. There's just so many kind of lines that just kind of get to me that I don't expect to laugh, and I end up laughing pretty hard. Surprisingly, I surprised myself when I watched it, and for me, a movie like Joe Dirt's definitely an F tier for me, and this one's nowhere near. And Joe Dirt for me personally, and also when I vote on these things, I like to vote for my own personal favorite instead of just going what the consensus thinks is going to be the greatest comedies of all time. So kind of factor probably a little bit of each, but a little more skewed to my personal favorite. So I mean, since we have an E in here, then I probably give it a D. So I put it in the D tier, which is still bad, but not atrociously bad. So yeah. Nick,
listen, I'm not gonna help you bring this up to an E because I would rather read the novelization of Joe Dirt 7 times. I don't know if that's a thing, but I would rather read the book of Joe Dirt than have to watch Dickie Roberts one more time. Just seems like a lot of former SNL people. It seems like it wouldn't even have made it as a sketch on SNL, let alone at least a 90-minute movie. So I think we have it where it belongs, right in the F tier.
Yeah, it's pretty overwhelming. 5-1, it's going to stay in the F tier.
Chill right there.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I went around saying to my parents, "This is knuckin' futz." I would say that all the time. They'd be like, "What'd you just say?" And I was way too young to be saying anywhere that resembles the F word. But moving on to the next. Christy, you're up next. So you got one.
All right, I am shooting my shot, Malcolm. This is where I need your full support because you and Anthony, I think, are the only ones who have seen my movie. So you really need to talk it up. Obviously, all of my choices are going to be S tier because I have excellent taste in movies. And this movie is perfectly S tier for 3 words. Shirtless Chris Evans. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I am going with the greatest rom-com of all time. What's Your Number?
Yeah.
Starring Anna Faris and Chris Evans. And the movie plot is about Anna Faris is realizing that she has slept with so many people, and she read in a Marie Claire magazine that if you sleep with 20 people, no one is ever going to marry you. And right now, she's at 19. Oops, she got wasted, slept with her boss. Now she's at 20, so she decides, I'm just going to go back through every guy I've ever dated, and I'm just going to marry one of them, and then it counts, and Chris Evans helps her through it. Lo and behold, they fall in love. It's a magical story, and everyone should watch this and love it because it is so romantical and so cute. And this is the reason why I love Chris Evans, because of this movie. So thank you for your consideration.
Yeah.
It can stay right where it is. I've spoken.
All right.
Well, I'm not just going to agree with her because she is my wife and I am within arm distance. What's Your Number is an absolutely wonderful movie. I love this movie. She kind of got me to watch it. It is an excellent rom-com. It's very funny, and just all of, not cameos, but all the other people that show up in this movie are fantastic comedic actors. You see Anthony Mackie come in, Chris Pratt shows up, Thomas Lennon shows up, all in like little roles. Andy Samberg shows up. All of them show up in small roles, and they're all perfect in their little roles. Anna Faris and Chris Evans just have a really good connection throughout the thing. And I really do enjoy this movie. It's just a lot of fun. And it is very funny, and it works. And it works as a rom-com, it works as a comedy. I'm a big fan of this. Thank you for introducing me to What's Your Number.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, Austin, what do you think?
This is one that got thrown on last minute that I haven't seen. It's like the one movie on the list I haven't seen, so I have to abstain.
Well, it's excellent. I will take that as an S tier recommendation. Thank you.
It's not how the show works, Christy. This isn't the Christy V show.
Well, I've seen this movie one time and only one time, and I had no desire to go back to see it. So I was just like, well, it's fine. It wasn't a bad movie by any means. And I think it's one of those where like Chris Pratt plays the best friend again, one of those early roles for him, kind of, and also just like seeing all the cameos. Those are fun. You see so many different. Even Zachary Quinto is another one that I thought of, or even Martin Freeman. Like they all pop up in like different times in the movie. But for me, like it's just totally fine. Like it's nothing really that great for me. I feel like it's more like, I don't know, like maybe something more like that, like women would put in S tier and maybe not men so much. I don't know. That's kind of
coincidentally, I am a woman.
Right. But I'm gonna put it in about a C for me. That's about where it lands. Perfectly fine in movies. So right in the middle. So Nick, what do you think?
I think that this movie is delightful. I don't know if I have it in the S tier, Christy. Please don't hate me. I hope you still answer my messages on Facebook after this. No, but I love Anna Faris. She's so underrated. Please come back to movies, Anna Faris. Please stop doing CBS sitcoms. Need you. We need you in comedies. She's delightful, like you guys all said. The supporting cast is so funny, and everybody works to make this like a really memorable rom-com. It sucks that this movie didn't make a lot of money when it came out, because I definitely think it's very similar to another movie on this list with Anna Faris, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point this evening. I don't think that it's quite S tier. I do think it's very good. If Zoolander is a B, then this movie cannot be any higher than a B for me. So I'm gonna say I really like this movie, but I'm gonna give it a B.
All right, Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is absolute S tier movie. I would have picked, like, I've got this back. The one thing that people were saying in the chat, though, is I actually had to double check this. This actually came out in 2011, so I don't know what we're going to do. But
that might take Oh no!
Yeah,
2011 on IMDb. It goes off the list. It's not part of 2000's. Ooh, a technicality. 2011 on IMDb.
So sorry.
Ooh, that one's gonna go off the chart.
I think because of that, Chrissy should get another chance.
She can get another pick, but
you can get another.
That's a technicality.
We'll put it way at the bottom just because we don't get confused or anything. But if you got another pick, shoot.
I did know. You know what?
Thanks, Malcolm, for staying on top of it.
Ouch.
All right. Well, again, all of my picks. Do I go again? Because I'll pick another.
You can go again. You can go again. Since we're at a technicality, yeah, you can go again.
All right. Again, I'll stick with 3 words. Chicka, yeah. Super bad, baby. It's my favorite comedy of all time. Right. It's the best comedy of all time. It's the funniest comedy of all time. There is McLovin, Michael Cera.
If anyone sees it, let me know.
Who the fuck cares who else is in this movie? It's great. It is excellent. There's you guys, you all know it's S tier. There's nothing else to say about this movie. It's perfect.
Yeah. Well, Anthony, what do you think?
These eyes cry every night for you.
Jimmy's brother, the singer.
Yes.
All right. This I have to agree that this is S tier. It's not my favorite comedy, but it's just what it created when it came out and what it did for all these people's careers. I feel like you have to put it in S tier. I'm probably going to say in the bottom half of S tier, but that's just me. This is really funny. There's a lot of great moments in this movie, and I guess with Nick and Zoolander, it's one of those movies, every time you watch it, something else comes up that you find funny. There's a lot of stuff kind of in the background that is entertaining. So it is very good. It is very funny. It kind of gave us a few actors that just blew up after this came out. So great. A lot of good people in it. I'll throw S tier again, not just because she's making good picks, not just because she's my wife.
Right. Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree with S tier for S for Superbad. This is one of the ones that I think would have come up eventually. Again, I'm kind of like Anthony. It'd probably be in the lower half, maybe near the bottom of the S tier, kind of for me. I think there's either just slightly better. The only thing that pulls it down just a little for me is the runtime. I think it kind of feels its length, especially near the end, like the last. Half of the last act kind of drags, like the stuff at the mall the next day. It's just kind of like you're kind of ready for the movie to be over. Like once the one crazy night is kind of over, it's like it kind of overstays its welcome just a tad. But despite that, all the one crazy night stuff that happens in the movie is all really solid. Bill Hader and Seth Rogen are awesome as the cops. Like that's probably my favorite actual like storyline, kind of running storyline through the thing. I'll go with S tier for Superbad.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, finally something we can all agree on, because I would say S tier for Superbad. Superbad's freaking awesome, makes me laugh so hard every time. And it's one of those movies that I do catch something new every time that I watch it. And I'm a huge Chris Mintz-Plasse fan. Like I think he's great in like everything that he does. And then also kind of like Austin, like my favorite kind of storyline is the two cops, Seth Rogen and Bill Hader. I think they're awesome. And then is an earlier introduction for Emma Stone for me too, so I like seeing her pop up. So yeah, I'm gonna say S tier for Superbad. Nick, what do you think?
Nick?
Yeah, I'm right with everyone here. I'm saying S tier. This movie is a stone cold classic. When I'm an old man and my grandchildren are like, Grandpa Nick, what were you like as a teenager? I'll just pin Superbad and say like this is it. Like I had never seen when this movie came out, I had never seen a movie that captured how my friends and I actually talk to each other. The opening of the film when they are on the phone before they pick each other up, and then they're on their way to school and they go to the gas station, like that whole stretch, I was just like in awe because I was like, someone captured what it's like to sit in the car with my friends and I. And yeah, as you guys said, like Bill Hader and Seth Rogen as the cops, incredible. So many endlessly quotable lines. I don't know how many times I've said like, just like even little lines that are like not, when you think of like the big quotes from this movie, you don't think of, there's so many littler ones that make me, that crack me up. Like when Bill Hader asks McLovin if he's seen Star Wars, but he doesn't refer to it as Star Wars. He just says Attack of the Clones, which for whatever reason I find that to be hilarious. And let me get a glimpse of those warlocks as just something that has seeped its way into my everyday vernacular. I don't know. I love this movie. It's an S tier. I appreciate Austin's criticism because I do think it's not flawless, and for the same reasons he does. But it's fantastic, and it's got so much heart. I love it. S tier for me.
Yeah, for sure. Malcolm, what do you think?
But yeah, I mean, I do enjoy Superman. Like, I have rewatched it since. This is one of those ones that for me it's a B, but it's probably, judging by how it read, it's going to say yes anyway. But this is one that it goes up and down whenever I watch it. Like, sometimes it will be up there, but at the moment, at the current rewatch, it is B. But it's a good movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never thought that I'd sit through the end credits just because of different drawings of like dicks all over the screen. I was like, it's kind of interesting, and I really shouldn't be into this, but I kind of low key am. So yeah, but where are we at, Austin?
We got 5 S's and a B, so it's going to stay up in the S tier.
Perfect. Yeah,
I win. I can go home now.
Yeah, right. Your job.
All right. Well, bye, Chrissy and Anthony. Y'all have a good night, and we'll move on.
No, you're good.
Well,
but
Anthony, do you want to get maybe a pick or two in before you have to bump out of here?
I got a few in mind.
Okay.
The first one I'm going to go with is, I feel like going to be a very obvious pick for me. Christina and Malcolm are both very aware how much I love this movie because it is one of the most brilliant movies made. The way it's done is absolutely perfect. It does an excellent job at what it's trying to do. And the movie might be dumb. It might have moments where you're just like, oh, God. But really watching it again, it's fantastic. It's hilarious. And 3 words: shirtless Chris Evans. Because not another teen movie. Naked Chris Evans. I apologize.
Oh, yeah.
Not another teen movie is absolutely brilliant. It is hilarious. The way they spoof on all of the different teen movies of the 90s is perfectly done. The Varsity Blues, the She's All That, all the jokes work for how they mean to make this movie. Yes, are parts dumb? Sure, but that's what this movie is. The way they do the dumb parts, though, is spot on, chef's kiss.
Yep. Well, Austin, what do you think?
To borrow a line from Malcolm, it's fine. I think there's better spoof movies out there. Every time I go back to it, I keep thinking it's funnier than it is. And I appreciate a lot of the people that kind of fill out the cast. Props to Sam Levine for being in the movie. But look, it's like a C for me, man. It's all right. It's all right. But I think the Varsity Blues stuff is kind of the best thing with the concussion counter and all that kind of stuff is pretty funny. But it's fine. C at best. There's way better movies on this list.
Yeah, for me, like it's probably not quite an S tier, but I mean, it is good. Like I'd probably give it about a B for me because I've seen it once and I've only seen it once, but it's one that I do want to return to, that I do want to watch again. But yeah, and also too, they have Jamie Presley in there, and I keep confusing her with Anna Faris, thinking she should be in the movie instead because like she's in all these spoof movies. But yeah, I'm gonna say B for not another teen movie. Nick, what do you think? Yeah.
I think this is one of my favorite spoof movies on this list. I think it has held up, and particularly so because of the cast. Like Chris Evans gives an absolutely incredible comedic performance in this movie. And as someone that grew up with an older sister and watched all of the movies that it was spoofing endlessly, this movie just like completely hit for me when I saw it the first time. I was like, I know all these references, I get all these jokes. So I think it's about as well done as a spoof movie can be. That being said, like I look at some of the other movies on this list, and I don't think it can quite hang in the S tier. But I do really like it, and I don't want to bag on Anthony's pick. So I'm gonna give it a B, and I'm a fan of this movie, and I should watch it again soon, and it should at least be a B because Sam Levine in it. We all love him, don't we?
Oh yeah, shout out Sam Levine. Yeah. Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the parody movies. I'm surprised they didn't get a sequel down the line because there's been a lot of new teen movies that have come out since that are just ripe for being parodied. But yeah, I love this movie. It's an S for me. But yeah.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
back on this.
Christy, what do you think?
This movie is brilliant, and Chris Evans is naked in it, so I'm giving it an S.
Sure, yeah.
Wow.
Well, where are we at, Austin? I know.
It's all over the place. 3 S's, 2 B's, and a C. I mean,
I think an A is a compromise.
It's straddling the line between S and A, but the other grades kind of drag it a little bit. So maybe A tier for now. We'll see if it hangs in there. We'll see if it hangs and makes the honorable mentions. I think this list is so stacked. I mean, I think the S votes are going to have to be pretty overwhelming to make it into the top 10. So it's going to straddle that line for now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you got to go,
Anthony, you want to do one more?
Give you one
more.
Cool. I think I'm probably going to pick one that not a lot of other people are going to pick because I love this movie. It is one of my favorite comedies of this time. It cracks me up all the time. The cast is fantastic. I don't know if it's S, but it's probably a high A, maybe low S. I mean, when you get Jack Black and Steve Zahn and Jason Biggs all singing Neil Diamond together.
Yes!
Insane. Yes.
This movie needs to be S or A, without a doubt, because this movie is incredible. Just the relationship between Jack Black and Steve Zahn in this movie is perfect. They are hilarious from start to finish. Jason Biggs is perfect as the guy that's kind of being pushed around by Amanda Peet. And you even get Arlie Emery in there as the old gym coach that winds up living with him trying to kill people. Like, this movie is incredible. It's so quotable. Just every now and then, I'll just pull out a "Comedy" because it's necessary.
Yes.
And it is. Yep. So I'm going to put this Saving Silverman up there because I love this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Austin, what do you think?
I don't think incredible was the word I was going to use for Saving Silverman. It's incredibly mediocre. It's incredibly fine. B level. Any higher than that, again, I look at this list of movies that's like 80 movies long, and I just see about 40 movies that are better than Saving Silverman. So I can't put it above like a B. I think there's better Jack Black movies on here. There's better Jason Biggs movies on here. I'm gonna save the S tier for something besides Saving Silverman.
Well, for me, I have a lot of love for Saving Silverman. Like, there's a lot of like really awesome quotes from it, where it's like, if nachos stick together, that's one nacho, and then grabs the whole plate of nachos or whatever, and then like Arlie Lee Ermey, when he's like, "You boys got a shitter," and then he's like no, and then so it's like, that's fine, I'll take care of it. The next thing you see him up at the mailbox grabbing mail for the toilet paper, just like all sly or whatever. So, but there's just so many little things that you catch, like every time, and like, this movie cracks me up. I love the scene with like Jason Biggs on the dance floor and like shocking his nipples, so he's dancing all weird and stuff. So yeah, like for me, I don't know if I'd quite give it an S tier. It probably just misses the S for me. I'd give it a high A for me. But Nick, what do you think? Nick?
All right, I played ball with not another team movie, but Saving Silverman's not getting the same love for me. I watched this movie a lot as a kid. I think I liked it a lot more when I was younger. I have fond memories of watching it. I don't think it holds up too well. I do love the fact that they're obsessed with Neil Diamond of all people. And I think there are certainly some solid jokes, especially when Jack Black is wearing the mascot costume, and he's trying not to give away who he is. But that being said, like Austin said, I don't think you can look at the other movies on this list and say, like, yeah, so Saving Silverman should be anywhere, even, in my opinion, like nowhere near the even B. Like, I'm sorry, Anthony. I'm giving this one a D. Ridiculous. It's a D. It's a D it's a D that I like. I like. People gave Zoolander an F. I'm sorry. This is I know. I'm sorry. I gotta be honest. I'm giving this one a D. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I'll still. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah, I remember when Anthony brought this up when we did the ranking list of comedies of the 2000s. I had no idea what this was until I looked it up and found I actually had seen it. It was released over here as Evil Woman.
Really? Nice.
And fun fact, it was number 12 on that list. I really love this movie. This is absolutely an S tier.
Wow.
Wow. Nice.
Wow. I don't understand this.
It's so good.
I don't understand this either.
I don't understand this. What is happening?
Okay. Even though you're my one and only someone.
Ah, crap.
Okay, this movie is not S tier.
I said S or A.
It's very good though. This movie is hilarious. The part where they're using the walkie-talkies is still always going to be my favorite part. Be like, you don't have to do the shh sound afterwards. It makes that sound all on its own. Like, it's just so many gems in this movie. I would say like B at the absolute lowest. But it's definitely A or B. It's not S though, honey. I love you, but it's not.
There's two S's in the name.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough for it then.
Yeah.
But where we at? We got a couple S's.
Two S's, like a.
It's all over.
Yeah, like 2 A minuses, a B, and a D. Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. So I think with that, it kind of goes down near the B's. Yeah. It has slightly better grades than Zoolander.
Yeah, I gave Nicholas some credit. He gave me none, so put it above Zoolander.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
well,
fair.
At least do that. Yeah. So, well, Austin, you're up. So, got one you want?
I'm still convinced that you all watched. I'm still convinced you all watched Zoolander 2 and thought you were watching Zoolander. And that's what happened here. But okay.
Yeah.
Say their goodbyes, and then we'll. But you can go ahead and pick, Austin.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on here, and with all the good stuff on here, what's been brought up, Saving Silverman and not another teen movie? Jesus Christ, what is going on with the show and all these good movies? I think I'll go with a pretty obvious. I'll go with an obvious S tier one that holds up on multiple viewings, and that's Judd Apatow's The 40-Year-Old Virgin. I think is pretty damn solid. Down in the middle. Yeah. Yeah, it gave, kind of reintroduced the world to Paul Rudd. Seth Rogen's in there. Just an amazing ensemble cast. A phenomenal way of kind of handling the material. Like, it's just, this movie moves. It's entertaining from scene to scene to scene. Just a ton of quotable stuff. Again, I won't go into there because otherwise we'll be here all night. But a great premise that's handled extremely well. I still think it's the best Apatow movie because I think this is right before he started going into his world of making all of his comedies like 2.5 hours, which no comedy should be 2.5 hours. I don't care how solid you think the material is. Like, a good comedy should be like hour and 30, hour and 40 minutes tops, and this one's about an hour and 50. It does overstay its welcome just a tad, but I still think, like Superbad, it's that first like hour and 15, hour and 20 is so good that it holds up. So I'm going to say the 40-year-old version for S tier.
Yeah. And I would agree. I think the 40-year-old version is awesome. Like, it's kind of like a great introduction to Steve Carell's movie career. And like, there's just so many hilarious lines. Like, it's again, one of those movies, and I'm probably going to say this a lot tonight, that where you catch something new every time that you watch. And and I'm a huge fan of Jane Lynch, like her, like constantly playing Michael McDonald on the TV screens over and over and driving people nuts over that. That always cracks me up. And when the cast was stacked, we've got Steve Carell, you got like Paul Rudd, Seth Rogen. I mean, Elizabeth Banks shows up, Leslie Mann, she's Jonah Hill, like
Romany Malco's awesome. Like, he's great.
Yeah.
And it's somebody who I thought would be a bigger star than he kind of is, but he's really, really good in that movie. This is my baby's dick. You see this? This is my baby. This is my baby's dick. Like that stuff's awesome. Like
I agree. S tier for 40-Year-Old Virgin. Yeah. But I don't know if Nick's if he stepped away from it. Oh, okay. Yeah. What do you want to say about 40-Year-Old Virgin, Nick? What do you think?
I love this movie. I think it's hard not to. I would say that for all the things that you guys said, bulletproof cast, early Seth Rogen role that really hits. Early Elizabeth Banks role that's really, really funny. People forget about her in this movie. Yeah, and I also think it's like the relationship between Carell and Catherine Keener is also really sweet. So I'm struggling with whether this is S or A for me, because it is one of the ones that, like, the more I watch it, the more I've like it's gone down in estimation for me a little bit. I do think that it suffers from the Apatow problem of being a little too long, and I don't know. I really like it though. It's somewhere in the S or A for me. I think I'm just leaning towards A at the moment. But okay. really love the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Definitely think that we need to see Steve Carell in like more weird, funny starring vehicles. It's been a minute, so
yeah. Malcolm, what do you think?
You muted.
Yeah.
Of course I am. But anyway, I love 40-Year-Old Virgin. This is easy and S. Yeah, everyone said everything else I would have said about this. So.
Yeah. Well, Christy, what do you think?
This movie's great. If I had to pick my favorite Judd Apatow, though, I would pick a different movie over this one. So I would probably stick this more A than S. But this movie's hilarious. This is like one of like the early on like rated R movies I saw like when I was 17 years old, because that's how old I am when this movie came out. Yeah, this movie's great. I have no complaints about this movie other than if I was going to put a Judd Apatow at S tier, it would be a different one other than this one.
Yeah. Well, so we got
3 S's and 2 A's, like an A plus and an A. Yeah, so
probably stays in the S. Yeah,
it probably stays in the S, but it might end up being more in the low tier as we put stuff in there. We'll kind of. Yeah. I'll keep the votes here handy, and we'll see where it ends up.
Yeah.
All right.
Depending how things go,
right, Jordan.
Things might get
things get shuffled around
a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, but for me, I got to go with my favorite comedy right off the bat of the 2000s, and I got to go Step Brothers. That movie just cracks me up every time. I just got to find the poster for it if anybody sees it. No, it's on here. Yep, here it is. Okay. Yeah, Step Brothers. Like, movie just like cracks me up every single time. Just seeing their interaction. They have such great chemistry, which is why I'm so surprised that the Holmes and Watson movie with them didn't work. Like, I was really excited for that, and like really bummed out with how bad that the movie actually was. But like Step Brothers, like, it's just so quotable. Like, did we just become best friends? Yep. And like just like there's so much room for activities, and then like them just like annoying the hell out of their parents. Then you have Adam Scott playing like a really good douchebaggy older brother, kind of like the villain of the movie almost, and just seeing how they just piss off their parents so much. Like, look at the line that I use all the time, like shut the fuck up. And like, means like getting so just like over the top, just like pissed off at these guys, and like it's one of those movies where like it's so stupid that it's like absolutely hilarious. And so yeah, I gotta say S tier for Step Brothers. So
yeah, I'm right with you there. I think this is an S tier. I know that we're not a fan of stupid movies apparently here, but this movie is gloriously stupid in all the ways. I think that it's one of those comedies on this list that you can tell that everyone involved in this movie while they were making it just had an absolute blast while making it. I would say that I just think there are so many, like, and I personally, like, I'm a fan. I like weirder comedy. I like things that push at the limits of like what comedy is. So I just think that there are so many just weird specific jokes in this movie that make me laugh so much harder than maybe anything else on this list. So I think that Step Brothers is absolutely S tier, and the movie, for even the smallest parts in this movie, are played by just like absolute comedic assassins. So Step Brothers for me, definitely S tier.
Yeah, and I really want a sequel to this movie. Like, I want to see what Dale and Brennan are up to now. I want it. Come on, give it to us. But Malcolm, what do you think for Step Brothers?
Yeah, I mean, I think the chemistry between Will and John was great in Holmes and Watson. The whole movie was shit, but the chemistry was still good in the movie.
Yeah.
And that was just because of the creative behind it was not like Wolfield and John Stewart are good when it comes to Adam McKay and stuff, and like the earlier stuff. Although I do think there's another movie on this list that featuring these two that is slightly better than Step Brothers. I'd go A+ myself, but it is a good movie.
Yeah. Christy, what do you think?
Okay, I hated this movie when it first came out. The first time I saw it, I was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my whole life. And then once you watched it more than once, I was like, this is fucking hilarious. This is one of the greatest movies ever. I think because I know a lot of people that have had to watch this more than once to get into it, I would lower this to an A over an S. But this is classic, super quotable. Like my younger sister, this is literally the only movie she knows how to quote because this is like her favorite one. She doesn't understand anything else about movies except for this one. But yeah, this one's great. But I'll give it an A just because for so many people, it took multiple watches to get into it.
Yep. Yeah, Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, it kind of did for me too, but to me, that's what makes it an S-level movie is because when you do go back and watch it so many times, there's so much to dig through, and it's so quotable, and the chemistry is just so much there, and Adam Scott is like one of my favorite parts of this movie, just being the asshole. Catherine Hahn is awesome as like her as his wife, and everything just every little piece of this movie works. Richard Jenkins and Mary Steenburgen are so funny when they just have these freakouts. No power tools. No power tools. and the stuff with Mary Steenburgen where she just loses it. She's like, I heard my son yell rape. Shit like that. Like, just it's great stuff. Like, she makes me laugh like so hard. I would go S level for Step Brothers. Yeah, this is I think one of the best ones on the list.
Yeah. Brendan, did you put your balls on my drum set? Did you? No. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, right. But yeah. But I think it's about
we got three S's and kind of two A's. Yeah, 2 A+. It's kind of around 40 version. So I mean, we'll see where it ends up. It might kind of straddle the line. We'll see. But we'll go back to it. All right, and back down to Nick.
Nick, you're up again. So
all right. Well, I'm not going to try and fit this in the S tier because I don't want my heart broken again. So I am going to put it in the A tier, and I'm going to say Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely an A+. I
got to find it if anyone sees it.
Nick, go for the S tier on this one. I might back you up on it.
All right, fine. I'll go for the S tier. I don't understand how
put it on
other...
here?
How other
on the right side, on the right column.
Zombie Land.
Just on it.
Above Zombie Land, below Super Troopers.
There you go. Look out, but didn't forget it. Yeah.
I don't understand how people keep making biopics that, like, after Dewey Cox. Like, every time I watch a new biopic, like Bohemian Rhapsody or something, I just want to scream, like, did they watch Walk Hard? Because they just followed all the same mistakes that this movie was, like, skewering about biopics, about how silly they are, about how fast and, like, unsatisfying they are as, like, a narrative through the years. Like, all the cliches, like Dewey needs to think about his career before he goes on stage, and like him, the way that his songs come to him, how he acts like the like he just had a genius, like, lightning strike moment. Like, I don't know, it skewers the biopic so thoroughly and with so much, like, accuracy that It's just so smart, and the songs are bulletproof. And John C. Reilly sings the hell out of them, and some of them are like legitimately great, like that I want to keep listening to. And that's how you know you've made a good musical comedy, if people want to listen to the songs outside of the movie. I just love everything about it. I love the like Jack Black and Paul Rudd as Paul McCartney and John Lennon, and I don't know. I can't recommend this movie enough. Every time someone tells me that they haven't seen it and I recommend it to them, they always will get back to me and be like, "Thank you for telling me to watch this movie," because it's that good. I love this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Malcolm, what do you think?
I think I've got a song about an octopus.
Yeah.
I love this. I love this movie. Like in the fandings. And I don't know if Joe Harrison's watching, but if he doesn't know an answer, he'll always answer "Walk Out the Dewey Cox" story without fail. It's just fun and joke in the fandings. But I love this movie. This is one that I did not expect to like as much as I did. But this is absolutely an S tier.
Yeah. Christy, what do you think?
The wrong son died. This movie's great.
The wrong kid died.
I haven't watched this in years, so I can't comment on much more than that, but I remember thinking this was very hilarious when I watched it very inebriated in college. So you rank it wherever you want, men. I trust you.
Well, we still need your vote. Where would you want to put it?
Not S. I would put it A or B.
A? Good.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Austin?
Dewey, I'm cut in half real bad. like what? Yeah. No. This movie is S level. I show this movie to so many people. Ever since I first saw it in the theater, and I got it right from the get go. I knew it was a parody of like Walk the Line or Ray and things like that. Him losing his sense of smell, like, is so stupid, but it's hilarious. Just everything about this movie, it works on both levels. So it works if you don't really know that it's a takedown of those music biopics. But if you know those movies, and like if you watch Walk the Line and Ray, like right before you watch this movie, like it's brilliant, like beat for beat takedown of those. And yeah, you can't watch a biopic the same way. I mean, when he's having his freak out, just pulling out individual spoons one by one, just bending them, like it's so stupid, but it's hilarious. It just works. Like everything about this movie just flows. And I would put this on S level because I think it's maybe the most underseen or underrated comedy of the 2000s that people just kind of don't talk about. But like he said, the music, you can listen to the soundtrack, and the soundtrack's damn good. Just the songs that they come up with the movie, and they're really well written as well. So I'd go S tier for Walk Hard. I love that movie.
Yeah, and I was a little late to the Walk Hard party. Like I probably saw this movie like 3 years ago or so for the first time, and I really liked it, especially because I'm a huge fan of Walk the Line, and also like Ray, it's pretty good too. I like Walk the Line a little better, but like seeing those, like how they play into this movie, like it's just really great. And I don't know if I would quite go S tier. I'd probably go a solid A, but it's really, really good though. Just seeing all the ways where like he's like trying to maintain the relationship with his wife back home, but he's really going over the line, doing drugs and sleeping with hookers and all this crazy stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna say A though.
They do a nice little thing where Kristen Wiig always has more babies on her, even though he's on the road all the time. He always comes back and she's got like 2 more babies hanging around the thing. And even when he's a success and he's playing giant arenas, she's just like, "You'll never make it, Dewey Cox. You're terrible."
Yeah, you'll never make it.
Can't build you a candy house, Edith. The son of
candy. Yeah. So
my 15-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah, my 15-year-old girlfriend. And yeah, he's playing just himself at 14 years old, which is pretty great. I'm just a little 14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Like it's just, like they just don't even care about casting somebody in the middle. But yeah, it's got the same votes as 40 and Step Brothers, like 3 and the 2. So it'll kind of start a line
leave it right there then.
There we go.
So
John C. Reilly, like low key, maybe the MVP of this list. We'll see.
He's got a lot of good movies in there.
Yeah. It really does. But you're up next, Malcolm. So what do you want to pick?
But yeah, someone else who might be the MVP of this list. I really don't want to make the S tier Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, but I really love this movie. Anchorman deserves to be in the S tier. And yeah, I mean, if you want endlessly quotable, I mean, I'm in a glass case of emotion. Why'd you throw the burrito at me? I know I'm misquoting a lot of that, but either way, it's just a lot of fun. Like even
Human Torch
when you get a whole bunch of cameos in the fight scene alone, and that's like I love Anchorman.
Yeah. Christy, what do you think for Anchorman?
Yo, this was my shit when I was in high school. Everyone watched this movie. I have no idea if it holds up because I haven't watched it then. So we'll go off of my memory. And this was great. So I'll keep it at S.
Yeah. Austin?
Yeah, Anchorman's a movie that low key you can quote almost every line in the movie. Like especially when you go back and watch it. Like I can't tell you how many times, anytime it's hot anywhere, I just go, it's so hot. Milk was a bad choice. Milk, like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm just like, I just do it all the time. The chemistry between everybody, again, Paul Rudd and David Koechner, Steve Carell, like again, all this gang of guys, it's so great. Fred Willard is awesome. Like if you notice in that movie, every time he's on the phone, everything is about like him talking to this nun, like, oh sister, I don't think he meant to watch German porn, stuff like that. Just like when they come in mid conversation, I gotta go. The Sex Panther stuff is awesome. Like you can tell these guys were just having fun to where it's like making up lines here and there, but they're all funny. Like it's in the best way possible where it was controlled chaos. But another movie that I kind of didn't like the first time I saw it, and I just kept watching and going back to it. So I think for that, I think it stays in the S tier.
Yeah, I say S tier all the way, especially for the jazz flute scene with Fred Armisen, where he's just going around playing the like jazz flute everywhere and like sucking up a lady's drink
in the toilet.
It's like, in the toilet, all that. Yeah, but like this cast is just so amazing, so much fun, especially having the like big fight where like all the news anchors join in. They're like, Brick, you killed the guy. You pulled out a trident. Where did that come from? Or whatever. So it's like it's just so good. Like like S tier all the way. This is like probably one of the easiest S's for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you guys. S tier for me as well. Saw this movie in the theaters. My friend's mom took me and my friend to go see it, and I remember there were like things. When did this movie come out? Like 2002?
2004.
2004. So I was in like 5th grade, and there were just certain jokes that I felt guilty like laughing at in front of my friend's mom, like knowing that I was like, she should like. I just feel weird that I'm laughing so hard at this in front of her. But it's just, we could sit here and we could probably collectively between us quote this entire movie. It's so good. So yeah, S tier for me.
Yeah.
I can't tell me how many times I've fake insulted somebody and said, I will take your mother, Dorothy Mantooth, out for a nice seafood dinner and never call her again.
Never.
Just like sweet for Anchorman. Go ahead, Jordan.
Like all the cleverness too, like the son of Odin's raven and all those things that he brings up, and just like are like so creative. Yeah, so I didn't move to the top because it was I think the first unanimous S, right?
Yeah, because Superbad had 5, but it had 1 B. There was somebody who kind of dissented on Superbad just a little bit, but it's still up there. But yeah, Anchorman's probably near the top for the moment. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But we'll throw it over to Christy again. You're up. So what do you want to pick?
All right, this one is one of my like low key favorites. I don't know if I would even categorize it as S tier. But it's great. It is definitely up there for me. It's Role Models. This movie is hilarious. Yeah. If you have not seen Role Models recently, please do yourself a favor and give this a revisit.
See it here.
Because it is phenomenal. I think it's towards the middle. It's in like the middle one.
Let's see. I know it's here. Oh, here it is. Yep.
So, Paul Rudd and Sean William Scott. Like, Sean William Scott comes out of nowhere after making just like dumb movies for quite some time. Actually does a great job. We got my boy McLovin in here because I refuse to call him by his real name. And Jane Lynch is in this. It's hilarious. Elizabeth Banks. I mean, there's LARPing in this. I mean, this movie is incredible. So it's great. Hope you don't hate it.
Yeah. Well, Austin, what do you think?
No, I don't hate it at all. In fact, I might agree with you on S tier because I've gone back and watched it a lot. Even just the stuff near the end with the LARPing. Like, I want to go do that. That looks like a hell of a lot of fun. Like, I think anybody who sees that would agree. Like, and this is one of the reasons I got back into Kiss music is because Sean William Scott is such a fan of it that I listen to Love Gun all the time because of that scene where he's introducing it to the kids. So I really, really like Role Models. I think it's really rewatchable. And the chemistry between everybody's great. It'd be probably like a lower S tier for me, like a S minus, but I'd still go S. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, this is absolutely S. Like, I freaking love Role Models. Like, it just makes you laugh so hard. I already mentioned I'm a big Jane Lynch fan, so like her doing like the Sturdy Wings kind of program for like the Big Brothers or whatever, which cracks me up every time. They even do like the like Sturdy Wings commercial in there, and then just like all the little lines and like the antics that they get into, and then also have some heart to it also. So yeah, I'm gonna say S tier for Role Models. Yeah. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, see, for me, like, I love this movie. I don't know if it's quite S. I would definitely have it as an A, though. I definitely think of it probably on a similar tier as Not Another Teen Movie, where, like, versus the Anchorman and Superbad and Step Brothers of the world. But it's definitely an A for me. I love The State, the comedy troupe that sort of makes up. David Wayne directed this movie, The State. Totally underrated comedy troupe that doesn't get talked about enough, had kind of got overshadowed by like the Judd Apatow comedy crew, but love all of those guys. Ken Marino, Michael Ian Black, Thomas Lennon, like that whole cast of people, collaborators. Love this movie. The only thing, the one joke that always sticks out to me is the guy that keeps playing like some weird made up song on acoustic guitar and keeps accrediting it to Wings. And Paul Rudd's character is like, yo, that is not Wings. Like, I don't know what that is. That shit makes me laugh every time. But yeah, A for me.
Yeah.
Isn't he always just like, oh, that is not a word I would use? You know, he's just like such a goody-goody or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, for me, like, I love Role Models. It's also an A. But another example of that whole Rings thing that they mentioned in the movie that happens quite a lot is the parody song "Meaning in a Bottle" is always assumed to be Weird Al when it's not Weird Al.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, for me, Role Models is an A. I love this movie.
And I love seeing Ken Jeong is like the king from their LARPing thing. They're trying to take up the king and ends up being Ken Jeong. It's like, but yes, where are we at, Austin? What are the votes?
The same as all those other ones that are kind of in the middle of the 3 and 2. So we got a lot of 3s and 2s. But I mean, 3's enough to kind of bump it up in there. But again, we'll figure it out kind of where they lay later.
Yeah.
All right,
Austin.
All right. This is tough, man. There's so many good things on this list. This is I think for what it did for the comedy genre and the fact that it's probably the best example of awkward situations and trying to talk your way out of things, I think Meet the Parents has to be in the S tier, just for what it did for that kind of genre. It's on the right-hand side in the middle. Right under Just Go With It. Yeah, there you go. I mean, we had never seen a movie that quite handled the uncomfortable awkwardness, the bullshit your way out of a situation. It was De Niro doing comedy before we got sick of him doing comedy. Like, he's just because he's not being silly, he's not being over the top and doing gross out stuff in this movie. He's just being the straight man and just being kind of matter of fact, and Ben Stiller trying to talk his way around him. I think the whole cast does a great job. I think the writing is just really, really good, and it still holds up. Like, forget the sequels. Like, Meet the Parents, straight up itself, I think is pretty damn solid, and it should probably be in the S tier.
Yeah. I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? Just like so many little lines like that it just make things really awkward, but like in the best way though. Just like all the situations that he gets thrown into. Then having Owen Wilson in there is like the charmer guy that just kind of charms him and everything, and like always kind of one-upping him, like the whole volleyball scene where he spikes the girl in the face and all that. Like, it's just so good. And I think for me, like, I kind of hover around the S and A tier, but I think that I give it probably like a low S tier. Like, I would put it in the S tier, probably at the very bottom for me. So yeah, I'll say S. Nick?
This is probably the first movie that we've talked about that like my parents would say like great comedy, like a great funny comedy. The rest of these way too stupid for my parents. This one, they would be like, this is great. We love this. This is funny. I like this movie a lot. I think you guys have kind of nailed it in saying that it's definitely like very smart, well written. All the jokes kind of land, and Stiller is probably, this is one of his like better like performances in a movie. For me, this is probably, and it's not any fault of this movie, but I think that the sequels kind of like diminish returns. Like when I think about these when I think about this movie now, I think I also start thinking about like the next two, and it kind of just like taints my appreciation for the original. I think this is probably an A tier for me. Not quite S tier, but definitely have a lot of respect for this movie and fond memories watching it.
Nick, I didn't nominate Meet the Fockers or Little Fockers. I nominated Meet the Parents, which still holds up. It's still a great movie.
I'm just giving my I'm just giving, if I can't, if I think about it in a vacuum, though, I would still probably say probably still A for me, not quite S.
All right.
Malcolm, what do you think?
I mean, I've said like out of this trilogy, but I actually do prefer Meet the Fockers more. But that being said, the first Meet the Parents was still an S tier for me. Like, it's still just as good. And yeah.
Well, Christy, what do you think?
I remember loving this. Came out when I was in like 7th grade. I remember being obsessed with this. I don't know if I would still find it as funny as I find some of the other ones. I would probably put this as like a B. I just think some parts are kind of like would fall flat now. But yeah, the volleyball scene's great.
Jinxie, like him being a male nurse.
Yeah, like that. Like that's funny. Not a joke, or like that his name is Gaylord. Like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of humor just like doesn't hold up anymore. But yeah, I mean, there's still parts that are good, but I think it's like a B.
Yeah. Well, where are the votes at, Austin?
It's kind of 3 1 and 1, 3 S's, A, B. So maybe like top of A. It got higher than not another team movie, so it may be able to make the honorable mentions. We'll see. We'll see how everything plays out.
Yeah, but if you say your laptop's kind of getting a low battery, Christy, do you want to do one more pick, and then we can let you run if you need to?
Yeah. So we'll see if I can last, because it's. I'm just gonna go with my second favorite comedy of all time. I'll do this quickly, and this is the first rated R movie I saw in theaters when I turned 17 years old, and this is the movie that taught me what motorboating is. So I'm gonna go with Wedding Crashers. I freaking love this movie. Yeah. It's hilarious. Definitely one of my favorite comedies. I've laughed so hard at this movie, and I think it still holds up.
All right.
Down at the bottom, bottom middle, right there. Under Super Troopers now.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Well, Lawson, what do you think?
I like Wedding Crashers. I don't love Wedding Crashers, but I still think it's really, really solid. Just to me, I've tried to go back to it a couple times, and it starts off really, really strong. And I think when it kind of settles into the house, it's not quite as strong as when they're doing the stuff at the weddings. I would still put it in the A tier. I really would like it. And I think Isla Fisher steals the movie. Like, she's amazing. I'll find you. Like she's great. She really steals it. It's really, really good. But I would put it like an A instead of S. I really like it though.
Yeah, and for me, I really like Wedding Crashers. It's a fun movie, and Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson always have great chemistry together. And then seeing Will Ferrell pop up in there, that is always fun. But I guess your battery must have died. But yeah.
Thank you, Christy.
Yeah, thanks. But it's a fun movie. I don't know if I would give it S tier. I'd probably give it a solid A tier, but I'm excited for the sequel that they're going to be doing it. And I feel like I'm like my
Funeral Crashers. Oh no,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's what they are doing a sequel, and I'm not totally sure if I'm like alone in that. I kind of feel like I'm one of the only people excited for it, so I'll bring it up, and people are like, "Oh, that's fine, okay." So, but yeah, so I'm gonna say A for Wedding Crashers. Nick, what do you think?
I generally like this movie overall. I think I agree with Austin that I find the first 15 minutes to be like so good, and then once it sort of gets into the actual like plot of the film, it slows down for me a little bit. And sort of like Meet the Parents, like what we said with Christy, like there are just some things here that I just don't think that have aged very well, joke wise. Some of the stuff I'm not like the stuff with the brother, to me, like some of it is funny, others is just like sort of weird gay panic like jokes that just don't really like fly for me. So for I would say that this would be an A or a B for me, probably like a B plus. I like Wedding Crashers. I actually watched it on TV the other day, like watched a lot of it just because it was on. It's super solid, super watchable. But for me, is just like there's it hasn't aged too well. And yeah, I'll say it's like a low A, high B for me.
Yeah. Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, I like Wedding Crashers. It's a C. It'll be a C for me.
C, okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. Like a lot of the comedies from 90s, 2000s era, the jokes do not age well at all. Like it's very rare that the jokes will age spectacularly for any comedy around this time. But I will slip in a plug for Christy though. Like listen to a podcast, Digesting Cinema with Aaron J. It's a lot of entertaining if you want to hear her talk more about movies. So
yeah, that sounds good. But well, sorry, Christy. I guess you're the only one that gave it an S tier. So
yeah, S, about 2 A's, a B plus, and a C. So either low A, high B. I don't know. Maybe low A. It might be at the bottom of A right now. Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Kind of pulls it up just a little bit. Yeah. All right.
So,
and Jordan, I think you're up because we kind of jumped back to Christy for a second to get one in, but I was up before that, so you're up.
All right. So, like, now's the part of the show where I kind of go into some of my like more like niche comedies kind of thing that like I'm gonna see if anyone else agrees with it. And I know some of you will, some of you probably won't, but one of the ones that I'm really hoping for, one that just really surprised me. It's kind of another one that's like so stupid that it's funny, but I love the cast. That I just love all the little like nuances. I'm gonna go with Hot Rod. So like I'm a huge Hot Rod fan. Like it's one of the only Andy Samberg movies that I really really like that would put in the S tier. but yeah, just like my name is Rod. And I like to party, and like everyone wants to party with them. And like just the scene where he's rolling down the hill, he's just rolling and rolling and rolling. It's one of those things that's like so stupid. I just like I help but just like die laughing every time. And yeah, like I got to give it S tier. Like it's just like a lot of fun. So yeah, I'll say S tier. See what you guys think. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll agree with you here. I love Hot Rod. It's like a comfort film for me. One of the movies that, like, if I just can't decide on anything to watch and I just want to put something on in the background or something, I will throw Hot Rod on. I think it's completely underrated. It's not my favorite Sandberg movie. I do think that at this point I might like Popstar and
Popstar's great
Palm
too.
Springs. Yeah, I might
really
like
good.
Popstar and Palm Springs more at this point. But the thing about Sandberg's comedies, the thing about Sandberg's comedies is that they are the perfect length. They're like rarely, they're like just always about 90 minutes. They never overstay their welcome. I think that it's the right, Hot Rod's the right mixture of like slapstick comedy and also just like weird stuff. Like you said, like this is another one where I think the first 15 minutes of this movie has made me laugh harder than anything on this list. Between him wanting to fight his stepdad and him falling down, like dancing in the woods and then falling down, like everything about it is great. I love Andy Samberg. I think that he is one of like the defining comedians of the late 2000s, and I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did on NL. And I think Hot is a great film. I got it as an S, a lower S, probably not as high as the other ones, but still in that S tier for me.
Yeah, for sure. Malcolm, what do you think?
I actually don't remember if I've seen Hot Rod. I know I've seen clips of it. I just don't think I've seen the whole thing, so I can't really vote on it, really.
Yeah, fair enough. Austin, what do you think? I know you got the Hot Rod nickname.
Come on, Richardson. Get out of the pool, man. There's no tool in this pool. And like Richardson's character in that movie makes me laugh almost harder than anything in any movie ever. Like the montage where he's passing out the flyers, but he's not passing out the flyers. He's just throwing them at people and doing his little like stupid little dance. Like is one of the funniest sequences in any movie ever. I love Hot Rod. Hot Rod was the biggest surprise of 2007 for me when I saw it in the theater. I didn't know what to expect. I just knew Andy Samberg from SNL, so I went and saw it. And I'm pretty sure if I remember right, I was the only one laughing in the theater, like hysterically, like at almost everything in this movie. I love all the stunt stuff. Danny McBride and like Bill Hader are in this movie, and you forget about that till you watch it, and you're like, holy shit, it's Danny McBride. Like there's Bill Hader like with a piece of an ice skate stuck in his head. He's just casually going, hey, just wonder if I could, get a ride to the hospital, man, like like he's like, I'm just seeing things. But like another I Love Fisher movie, oddly enough, that we just talked about, like she's a lot of fun in it. And like Will Arnett's another great douchebag, like movie douchebag, just like, you kids don't go falling in love now.
I can't tell you how many times when I'm trying to get my girlfriend's attention, we'll go, babe, no,
babe, come on, babe.
Yeah,
like he's awesome. Like, I mean, the scene where like they're doing this inspirational like march to the stunt, like the final one, like with this song, but then like a riot breaks out randomly and just people are looting and rioting all around everyone. Like it just completely breaks down. Like it's one of those irreverent comedies. I kind of put like Billy Madison, where I've always been chasing that dragon of just like the weird shit that like just stuff that comes out of nowhere, but like it's really smart, but kind of underrated smart. I would go S tier for Hot Rod. I adore Hot. I'm glad other people do too, because I think it's super underseen and it's a lot of fun.
And don't forget about Cool Beans. Cool beans.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that hard for you so I can beat the shit out of you.
Yeah. So I think Hot Rod, from the three of us that actually have seen it, it's unanimous, but I'm going to put it kind of under the other two that got a lot of S. I'll put it right there for now. We'll kind of see how
we'll play around with it and see what happens.
Yeah. So,
Malcolm.
Wait, no, we're on Nick, right? Did I just pick?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. I thought Nick loved Hot Rod too, so I couldn't remember if he nominated. Yeah, so Nick, you're up first. Sorry about that.
Oh, man.
I forgot Jordan nominated Hot Rod.
I want to talk about.
There's a lot of them.
I know, it's a lot.
Let's keep scrolling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A
lot of good movies. Jesus, man.
Okay. I feel like
Yeah,
we've
see
talked
the
about it.
slow
Oh,
scroll.
okay. One that I'm gonna fight for here for the S tier. Probably my last one here that I could that now that I'm looking at the list, probably the last one that I would fight to make on the S tier. Pineapple Express.
Yeah.
Is a movie that I absolutely love.
Where's it at? There you go.
It is underneath Mean Girls. Yeah. Pineapple Express is like a throwback to the action comedies that of the 80s but with like a really fun twist that also it's a throwback to like the stoner comedies of the 80s, which like were kind of both of those styles of films were kind of out of fashion when Pineapple Express came out. I really appreciated that they balance the action elements with the comedy, but I think the sequence of this film when Dale and Saul go to Red's apartment to hide out, but in actuality, Red's trying to give them up, is one of the funniest sequences. Like so much great dialogue. Probably hurts if you didn't smoke a lot of weed as a teenager, but fortunately and unfortunately, maybe and possibly I did, and so I love this movie, and I just think once again, like all the supporting characters are so brilliantly cast. Gary Cole gets like a really great chance to shine, and this is Danny McBride's. If you're a Danny McBride fan, which I am, I absolutely love Eastbound and Down. This is the funniest Danny McBride has been in a movie. And same with James Franco. This is the best for my money. This is the best James Franco has ever been on film. So for me, Pineapple Express is an S tier. It's one of the movies on this list that I probably revisit the most. So really love it.
Yeah. Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is one I like, but just don't love. I mean, because one of my favorite jokes in This Is the End is when they're recreating
Pineapple Express
sequels in the
2.
middle of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Pineapple,
Yeah.
But I'd probably put this at C. I mean, this is one that James Franco sometimes makes me laugh, but this is not one of the ones that I really like of James Franco.
Yeah. Well, Austin, what do you think?
I like Pineapple Express. I don't love it. I remember going to see it, being really excited. The trailer was great. I went in with pretty good expectations, and just coming out of going like, I appreciate what they did, kind of spoofing almost the crazy action comedies of the 80s. But like being just kind of feeling flat. Like I think the movie starts incredibly. Again, another movie where first 20 minutes is great. The stuff with Bill Hader, like doing the marijuana at the beginning and like the underground facility is awesome, and just like insulting James Remar like over and over again. Like he's great. And then the stuff at the beginning with Seth Rogen to Electric Avenue, like going around serving all the papers, like in disguises is a lot of fun. Like I dig a lot of the stuff in the beginning, but I think the movie just kind of like it just kind of gets into a pace that I don't really flow with. So to me, it'd be like a B-. Like, I don't think it's like that bad. I would watch it, but I kind of agree with Malcolm. I kind of like the Pineapple Express 2 stuff, and This Is the End even more than this movie. Honestly, like when they're just doing like the low budget version, around the house, like I like that stuff even more. So I'd go like a low B.
Yeah. You just got killed by a Daewoo Lannis, motherfucker. Like Danny McBride is just like so funny, and this might be the funniest that he's ever been in. And then just seeing Seth Rogen and James Franco as the two stoners, like when they make the little cross joint, like it's the apex of the vortex of weed smoking technology, and like just seeing him being the kind of just like high out of his mind all the time, kind of just weed dealer guy, and then just like seeing him, they get stranded in the woods too. They kind of have like a really weird time out in the woods. Like it's just so much fun. Like it's like an adventure, kind of those like One Crazy Night kind of movies, even though like it's kind of like 2 days sort of, but yeah, like it's a lot of fun, and like just the whole entire cast, even Craig Robinson, like he's awesome in it. Like, well, there's a huge cast in it. this movie that's a lot of fun. So yeah, for me, I put it in the S tier. Like I love Pineapple Express. Like I even have the poster from when I worked at a movie theater that I might throw up sometime. But yeah. So I am gonna say S tier. Yeah.
Well,
So where are we at?
2 S's, a B, and a C, so it's going to get dragged down a little bit out of there.
Maybe A?
Maybe like it's kind of around what Wedding Crashers had, but maybe just slightly above Wedding Crashers right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, but we'll throw it over to Malcolm now. You're up. So what do you want to go for?
Time to get someone different in the S tier, and this is the movie I've been waiting a long time to bring up. But I'm going for rating. I was hoping you would have got it by joke there, but good old Ryan Reynolds, Anna Faris. I think
Which
it's right
one
at the bottom.
Sorry,
Waiting.
Waiting.
It will
is
be
at
right
the
at the W, and it'll be right at the bottom of the
Okay.
W's.
Let's see.
Sideways.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, this is probably a really great cast. You got people like Ryan Reynolds, Anna Faris, Natasha Lyonne, Chime McBride, a great bunch of people. And I believe it's Fred Willard in this again. I might be wrong.
No,
but,
it's David Koechner is the manager.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think Fred Willard appeared in the sequel to this. That's right. But this is so great. And like I've worked in restaurants a lot of times, and this is one of those ones that, especially when it comes to how we want to deal with customer complaints versus how we should deal with customer complaints.
Don't piss them off.
It's definitely one of those ones like. When dealing with customer complaints, you do not want to sabotage their food and make it more disgusting than what it might have been with what they're complaining about. And this is just one of those ones that, just for the stuff I've done in the past, is I really appreciate the comedy in this one.
Yeah. Austin, what do you think for Waiting?
I really like Waiting. I kind of like Malcolm. I worked at a TGI Fridays for 2 years, so all the humor in this movie is like pretty spot on as far as how the cooks act as opposed to the waiters, how people will be yelling and screaming in the back room, and as soon as you like push the door open, it's back to, oh, how are you guys enjoying your meal? Like all that stuff is pretty spot on and great. All the different types of customers is all like everything's spot on. The only thing that puts this more of an A tier than S tier for me is because it's a slightly inferior Office Space. I think Office Space is better written and a little bit sharper. I think unless you've actually worked in a restaurant, I don't think the stuff in Waiting will particularly appeal to like a wide audience. Like it's just it's very, very specific and niche. So that's why I do like it. But I can't put it in the S tier just because it's kind of a narrow reach as far as the material goes. So I'd go like an A tier. I really do like it, and it's sharp if you have worked in a restaurant, but it's inferior to something like Office Space.
Yeah. I want to give some love to the movie Waiting, just because of Dane Cook and one of my guilty pleasure movies that I should have put on this list and I totally forgot is the movie Employee of the Month. Like that's a huge guilty pleasure movie of mine. Like I would have ranked that one probably even higher than Waiting. But yeah, like it's just one of those things that's just kind of crazy to see, like the extremes some people go like they do in this movie to kind of just like screw with people's food. They're like, now time for the Parmesan cheese, and he's putting like dandruff and all kinds of gross stuff in there, But yeah, and it's one of those movies that I felt like it didn't get a lot of press for it. There wasn't a lot of trailers out, at least that I saw, because like I remember that when it was out, I actually worked at a Hollywood Video back in the day, and so I saw it on the shelf and like how do I not know about this movie? Like the movie has like a really cool cast, like, and I went and watched it and it was great. But probably for me, I mean, it's good, but it's not something that I find myself going back to a lot. I'd probably give it a B, but I give it a high B though, so like right at the top of B tier. So
I think I agree with that. That's probably the grade that I would give it, is like a high B. I worked in a restaurant as well, so like you guys are right. Definitely like the authenticity of the experience of working into a restaurant scores a lot of points for that. I do find the plot to leave a little bit to be desired, and yeah, like I just there aren't as many memorable bits. Like the ball showing game is something that probably like I definitely laughed a lot harder at when I was in my teens than I do now. Like so yeah, I would give this, I like this movie. I have fond memories of watching this movie. But I think it's not on the level of some of the other ones here, and so yeah, this would be like a high B for me.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with what Jordan said about it. Like when it came out, wasn't really that advertised because it probably got lost in the shuffle. Because coming also out on the same year was Just Friends, and I think 40-year-old Version was the same year as well. So I mean, there's so many great comedies out at that year.
I remember, it kind of coming and going. Like I did see it in the theater, but like I even the opening week I saw it. It was in like a smaller screen, and it wasn't very heavily attended. Like, and it went to video pretty quickly. Like it was out a couple months later, like on DVD. But yeah, I still remember liking it. But yeah, we got an S, an A, and 2 B's, so maybe kind of the bottom of A, like under Wedding Crashers is kind of where it goes. Wedding Crashers is slightly higher than that, but yeah, still around, hovering around there.
Yeah, so moving to your turn, Austin. You're up.
Yeah, man.
What do you want to go with? There's still
I'm wondering if I should.
Good ones left.
Yeah, I know. Man, I don't know how many S tiers are going to be unanimous left over on these. I'm going to go with an Edgar Wright pick, and I'm going to go with my favorite one of the Edgar Wright movies. I'm going to go Hot Fuzz for S tier. Hot Fuzz to me is just spot on brilliant. It's an excellent takedown of again, even better than Pineapple Express, of like old action comedies and action movies. A lot of the tropes that they do, especially near the end of the movie. But I just think it's so smartly well written. It's got a good mystery story woven into it. Him trying to solve this sort of serial killer thing, but also great characters that all just have something to do. They've all got a nice niche to them. And again, much like Edgar Wright movies, if you go back and watch it again, it has a lot of replay value because of the stuff that dropped kind of early in the movie. But it's just got this silly vibe over this kind of serious killer story, and the whole thing just works for me. So it's one I've gone back to many times. I just have a smile on my face the whole time. So I'll go with Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, and Hot Fuzz is my favorite Simon Pegg and Nick Frost movie. I think that's great. It's my favorite of the trilogy, and yeah, just like seeing that and them together, just kind of like trying to investigate all this crazy stuff happening in this small little town is a lot of fun. I really like the vibe of the little town that they create, and then seeing a lot of British actors kind of pop up, seeing like Bill Nighy pop up. Or like
pretty much every British character actor you can think of outside of Ed that's been in a Harry Potter movie is also in Hot Fuzz throughout this movie. They all are in there. So yeah, that's what makes it a lot of fun. Everybody's recognizable.
Yeah, and even Timothy Dalton shows up, and I can't remember if he plays the villain or if he's one of the chief.
No, he's one of the villains. He's the guy who runs the supermarket. Yeah, and he's always running around going, "I'm a slasher. I must be arrested. I'm a slasher of prices." Down at the supermarket. I love. Yeah, he's pretty great.
Love how it's over the top with a little bit of violence too in there. So that's a lot of fun. So yeah, I would definitely give it an A tier. I actually got lucky at a used bookstore. I found a really cool a box set of the Cornetto Trilogy, and it had multiple discs of every single movie in the series. So that was really cool. I found it for used too. So I got it for a pretty good price. So yeah, that was lucky. But yeah, I'm gonna say S tier.
S tier.
Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna say A tier for this one. So solely because I think Hot Fuzz is a little slow getting started. I've talked about a lot of movies on this list where we're like, oh man, the first 20 minutes or so of this movie just absolutely kills, and then it slows down. Whereas Hot Fuzz takes a little while for me to ramp up, but I do really love this movie. I do think it's actually, if I had to say like what it does more successfully between the comedy and the action, I think that the action element of Hot Fuzz might be more successful for me, whereas like a movie like Shaun of the Dead, the comedy element is more successful than the action stuff. But I really love this movie. I think it's really smart. It's definitely one of the smarter movies out of the whole list that we've seen today. Like as far as the script and the wit behind it. So this one is a high A for me.
Yeah. Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that whichever of the Cornetto Trilogy movies came up, I would have put it in S tier too, because I love Hot Fuzz. It's really great, and it's got my doppelganger Peter Jackson playing Santa as a cameo. So, so I was always going to say yes because of that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's 3 S's and an A, so it might stay up there. And again, a lot of these are 3 and 1, 3 and 2, so we'll kind of figure out their order, later. But as of right now, with only 4 panelists, if he gets 3 S's, I think it stays in the S tier.
Yeah. So we'll leave it there. But all right, guys, I got to do it now. Just because I'm like really curious to see what
so
you
guys
guys
talk about white chicks.
Oh
no, don't do it.
No. I'm not going to talk about white chicks. No, I'm going to talk about another one though that might be a little kind of all over the map. I want to talk about Napoleon Dynamite. Like, gosh, my lips hurt real bad. Freaking idiot. Like, just all these like what kind of lines that just kind of came like they're pretty unique for the time. Kind of like they're kind of like alternative to like cuss words and stuff. Let me find the poster here if anyone sees it.
It's it's above Rush Hour on the right hand side.
Oh yeah, on the right column.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah, but like I just like the way John Heder plays it here, and I'm really sad that he didn't blow up and become more of a star. Because I remember when I first saw this, I had to go to like a special theater, like an independent theater, to see it, and it played so well that I got a wider release into major theaters, and like it was awesome. So I actually live where I live now, just an hour away from the town in Idaho where the whole movie takes place, Preston, Idaho, and so I spent a lot of summers there. Like my cousin's actually in the movie. He's one of that guys where. And the scene was like where it says, do the chickens have large talons? And then like you see a couple of kids standing behind it. He's the guy in the green shirt, and he has a close up eating a hard-boiled egg. So just kind of like a random kind of cameo there. But like I just love the dynamic between Napoleon and Pedro. Just like it took me 3 hours to finish the shitting on your upper lip, and he like draws the picture for the girl, and like this movie is endlessly quotable. I have magnets over my refrigerator, Napoleon Dynamite. My mom, like when the movie came out, bought us all this Napoleon Dynamite stuff because she was really into it too. So yeah, I'm gonna say S tier, but I know this movie is very polarizing. I think you either love it or you hate it. So I'm gonna see what you guys think.
Napoleon Dynamite's one of those movies that, to me, it's like I feel like it was underrated, and then it was overrated, and then it became underrated once again, and like it's just this weird thing. I do really love. I love its strong sense of aesthetic. I'm trying to remember the name of the directors. I've seen some of their. I think their last name's Hess.
Jared Hess, yeah.
Jared Hess, yeah.
I've actually been over to his house before. So.
Oh wow, yeah. I remember his movie Gentlemen Broncos that came out, which sort of used the same Napoleon Dynamite aesthetic to like much less success. But I will say, like for the first time out of the gate, it has such a strong sense of like style and what it's going for that I really appreciate. That being said, I just don't feel like there's like enough meat on its bones beyond like sort of the character. So for me, I don't know if it's S. For me, this is more Napoleon Dynamite, something that I appreciate, but I don't really have a strong yearning to go back and revisit it. like I know what I'm gonna get with it. I remember the bits that sort of everyone loves to talk about. For me, this is like a low B, high C. I don't dislike this movie in any way, but it's just not one of my favorites. So I'll give this one like a B, a low B.
Yeah, my goal is to just kind of get some totally different, maybe into the S tier, but
yeah,
we'll
no problem.
Yeah. So, Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah, I hate Napoleon Dynamite. It's
Yeah.
F.
It's always
F.
I mean,
Wow.
this is one of those ones because that if you ask so many different people, you're either going to get people who are going to really love it, you're either going to get people who really don't like it. It's very rare you get people on the in between. But yeah, I mean, I don't like this movie. I just don't find it funny, and I mean, I really don't like John Heden as an actor. I mean, he's fine in Blades of Glory, the only one fulfilled, but that's about it.
Yeah, I kind of want to see him in the new Tremors movie, just for like a cheesy, off the wall kind of weirdo kind of movie. But anyways, I'm just curious more so. But Austin, what do you think?
I'll balance out just Malcolm's F, so it doesn't get pulled too far down, and I'll say S tier. I love Napoleon Dynamite, and I've told the story before on one of our other shows we did. I forget which one, but when I went and saw Napoleon Dynamite, I was in a theater with my mom and my sister because we just went to see it, like just on a whim. I was the only one laughing the entire time. I laughed myself silly throughout the whole thing, but it was really awkward because I was the only one laughing, and I fell out of my seat at one point. Literally fell out of my seat laughing at the bit where he walks into the room and the camera just stays outside the room, just like in the hallway, and he's about to do that thrift store like workout video, and the guy on the video is like, are you ready to sweat or whatever? And he just goes, yes. Yes. And I fell out of my seat. Yeah, like I thought it was awesome. Rex Kwon Do, Dietrich Bader is really good in that movie, like in his little spots. Think anybody wants a roundhouse to the face while I'm wearing these bad boys? Like, forget about it. I think that movie's endlessly quotable, but I get why people don't like it. But I fall on the side of do liking it. So I'll say S. I know it's not going to make it into the S tier, which is fine. Yeah, but it'll help balance out Malcolm's low score. So at least maybe keep it around the B tier.
It'd be really nice if you could pull me into town, Napoleon, and like pulls him on rollerblades on his bike. But
Battery Sensei.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But so we had two S's.
Two S's, a B, and an F. So I think it kind of goes around the B tier. That's kind of where Zoolander landed. Like a lot of people love it, and a lot of people hate it. So it's kind of around there.
Yeah.
One of those movies.
I just love it. Where you think that I got to where I am today because I come home to Starla every night? Forget about
Starla every night.
His like wife's like an American Gladiators type looking chick or something.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll go back over to Nick. Yeah, we'll see if you got
one that I spotted on here that I think that I would love to talk about. I'd love to see what other people think about it because I do think it's like a controversial movie these days. Is Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder for me, I think Tropic Thunder is at least it was towards the bottom. It's underneath Shaun of the Dead.
Right next to The Ringer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me, the Tropic Thunder is probably the highest, probably had the largest budget out of any of the films on this list. I think that it makes the most of its budget. It really goes all out. Features some absolutely insane performances from Tom Cruise and Robert Downey Jr., which you either at this point you either love it or hate it, or think it's disrespectful or think it's like low-key kind of brilliant. All I know is that it's just something that you absolutely could not get away with doing in today's day and age. The fact that he played that character and people were more upset about his rant about mentally handicapped people in the movie. People were more upset about that than him doing blackface. Tells you just like
right.
low key like how funny he actually is in this movie. I really want to see Downey do more comedy after watching this. The fake trailers at the beginning are just like absolutely legendary. If the movie was only that, I think that it would get a long way because of that. But yeah, I just think there are so many heavy hitters in this. Steve Coogan makes the most out of his little role. Bill Hader's very funny. Danny McBride.
Yeah, he's the explosives guy. Big ass titties. He just blows it up.
Nick Nolte's character kind of being the cliche Vietnam vet that's all like doing the stolen valor thing. Just there, it has a lot of layers to it. It's very funny. It's a little. I do think there are parts of it that have aged pretty poorly. So I don't know if it's quite S. Maybe it's A, but I just really respect the ambition of the movie and think that it's just a really, really solid big budget comedy. And I can't really see a movie, let alone the content, but I can't see another comedy like getting this sort of budget anytime soon. So this one is a special movie in my opinion.
Yeah. Malcolm, what do you think for Tropic Thunder?
Well, funny enough, this is what I thought Anthony was going to bring up before he left. But I think Anthony knew what I was going to say about it too, because I've talked about the fact that I like this. I just don't love it. It's a C for me. I do think it's funny, but unfortunately, the only really good thing about this is Tom Cruise, and that's about it for me.
Yeah. Austin, what do you think?
It's like an A level for me. I'm kind of right there with Nick, and I think what people misunderstand about the Downey blackface thing is he's playing an actor that's so arrogant he thinks he can do the blackface thing like classy. You know what I mean? He's playing a character that's playing. He's playing an actor that's playing an actor playing blackface. You know what I mean? Like it's the subtext is
playing another.
Yeah, it's a dude playing a dude playing a dude. Like it's a jab at that.
Like I get that, but at the end of the day, he is still doing blackface. Like it's really
yeah, but
touchy.
again, it's not Downey doing blackface like Soul Man, C. Thomas Howell doing blackface. Like it's a character doing that, and that's the point. Is that he thinks he is.
Are good.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things where I still think the movie's really funny. Like I don't put it at the top like in an S tier, but it's one I go back to every now and then. Yeah, Tom Cruise definitely, like people saw him in another light after this, just going like, oh, he can kind of make fun of himself and be over the top and be funny. I always forget that like is it Bradley Cooper or Matthew McConaughey that's like his assistant? Matthew McConaughey, yeah, and I always forget about that. You're always like, oh yeah, that's Matthew McConaughey. Holy shit, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, I did look up, by the way, the top 10 most expensive comedies ever made. I'll maybe do that in a second after Jordan gives his thoughts, maybe just as a little quick side, just for fun. But I put it in the A tier.
Yeah. I don't read the script. The script reads me. Just like all the little lines that he has. Or like I don't drop character until I've done the DVD commentary. And so like there's like so many awesome lines. I think Robert Downey Jr. for this movie steals the show. And I'm a big fan of Tropic Thunder. I really like it a lot. I mean, I'm a little kind of not as enthusiastic with the Tom Cruise character. Like everyone kind of rants and raves and like thinks, oh, it's Tom Cruise doing something different. But like really for an actual character, I thought it was a little cheesy to me. I was kind of like, it was fine. But for me, like I probably wouldn't quite put it on the S tier. It's more of an A tier, and I'd probably put it even just like right behind maybe like Pineapple Express, kind of mid A or so for me. So
yeah, something like that. So real quick, so Tropic Thunder did have a budget of $92 million, which is kind of crazy for a comedy. But I found an article that said the 10 of the most absurdly expensive comic book or comedies ever made. Number 10, Daddy's Home with $70 million. Number 9, Bruce Almighty, another one on our list with $81 million. Number 8, You Don't Mess with the Zohan was $90 million, which certainly doesn't look like it on screen. Number 7, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, $90 million. Number 6, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, $90 million.
That makes sense.
Number 5, Pixels, $130 million.
Pixels.
Wow. Number 4, Men in Black 3, $215 million budget. Ooh. Holy shit. That's expensive. Number 3, Evan Almighty, $250 million budget, which is bonkers to me. I know, but like that's insanity to me. Like, there's no way that movie made money. Yeah.
No, a sequel, spin-off.
Number 2, Tangled, $300 million for Tangled, which I did not realize. And then number 1 is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which I don't know if it's a comedy, but $354 million.
Yeah, I'm not going to call that
Holy
a comedy.
Shit.
But,
but also, the note worth mentioning with inflation, 1941, the Steven Spielberg movie, had an absurdly high budget as well. So, yeah.
And also a classic
very, very
bomb,
expensive.
So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I just thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah, so I believe it's Malcolm.
Next, right? Malcolm's up next. Mm-hmm.
All right. So another one you want to talk about?
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to go, but this is one I rewatched this year. But I'm going to go for Rat Race. To me, this is an underrated, like a movie that doesn't get brought up a lot. It's a parody of it's a mad world. I don't know if I did too many or not enough mads in there.
I think there's four mads. It's a mad
Technically,
world.
Yeah, it's mad world. Technically.
But yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones in which there's a lot of crazy stuff. Like, you had Ron, like the cast in this is established. You had Whoopi Goldberg, you had Ron Atkinson playing a narcoleptic character. John Cleese is the whole architect of this whole race. This is just one of those ones that I love a lot, and it's just, I don't think it gets talked about as much as it should, and it's just I just think it's a lot of fun. I think it's an S, whether or not. Also, wasn't Tropic Thunder moved down?
Yeah, it needs to go back down to like the bottom of the A. Tropic Thunder, because it's like it was 3 decent A's and a C, so maybe bottom of A.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Malcolm. So Malcolm thinks Rat Race S. I like Rat Race a lot. I saw it twice in the theater. I had a lot of fun with it. It's ridiculously entertaining, like really fast paced. There's a lot of really fun characters. I love John Cleese as the eccentric. Yeah, I'm eccentric. I'm like he's really funny. Like he's great. I like to bet on everything. To me, it's like an A tier because I just don't think it's as smart and as well written as some of this other stuff in the S tier up here. You know, like Hot Rod or 40 version, things like that. But I do like it a lot. I do think it's really entertaining. So it's like a solid A for me. I really, really like it. I do watch it a lot.
Yeah. I'm a huge Rat Race fan too. Like I really like Rat Race and like one of my favorite things is just the like back and forth between Rowan Atkinson and Wayne Knight when they're together too. We're like Wayne Knight's like, we're really hauling ass here, and he's like, you know what I got in the back? And he's like, ass. We're hauling ass. Yeah. And the whole thing where the heart slips out the door and they got to go like find it all in the sand or whatever. But yeah, it's a good time. I mean, S tier is a little bit of a stretch for me. Like, I don't know. I'd say S tier. I'd probably give it more of an A tier, and I'd even put it at the bottom of A tier. So yeah, I'm gonna say an A for me. Nick?
Yeah, this is a movie that I liked a lot as a kid. That I think it worked for me more when I was younger because it is so fast paced and kind of zany and fun. But I just don't doesn't have as many memorable bits or quotable lines as really as a lot of these other films for me, and I think it's just I think it's just sort of an average comedy. It's one that I enjoy when I'm watching it, but I don't think a whole lot about it once it ends. For me, this is probably like a low B, high C. I definitely enjoy this movie. I think it's fun, but I wouldn't say it's like a classic or anything like that. It's definitely a movie that I have fond memories of, but yeah, it's for me it's a low B, high C for me.
Yeah. So what do we got? We got an S, an A,
an S, 2 A's, and a C. So maybe kind of down near Tropic Thunder, waiting, kind of hovering around there, but still entertaining. We'll pick a few of these for honorable mentions. We'll see where everybody kind of lands.
Spot for me. Yeah. But yeah, so you're up next, Austin. What do you?
Damn, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to see which other ones would kind of get S's. I'll tell you what. Just because I think we forget how much of a throwdown it was when it came out, like how much of an impact it had, how much people loved it. It's kind of become overplayed. But Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan, was a phenomenon when it came out. And I think for that, it's up in the top left. For that alone, like, I remember even taking my dad to see this movie, and we just laughed ourselves stupid at the concept. And it was kind of groundbreaking. Again, the sort of the pseudo documentary style, him messing with real people. Again, we take that for granted now in the age of YouTube, but like when he did this movie and the way he did it undercover and fooled everybody, and nobody knew the Borat character at the time. Again, we talk about like the sequels and stuff, and it's been overplayed, very nice, all that stuff. But like at the time, that movie was like blew people away. It got great critical acclaim. A lot of people loved it. And I think for the time it came out, and I think it still holds up to a degree. It's still very, very funny. It probably deserves to be in the S tier, I think, just for what it did at the time. So I'm going to go S for Borat.
Yeah. It was kind of tricky for me because part of me thinks that it just deserves to be in the S tier. But for me personally, I wouldn't put it in the S tier. For me, I'd put it more of like a high B for me. So I think my final vote's going to be a high B, I think. But there's a lot of like really great quotes, just kind of just playing up the whole Middle Eastern thing. How like Middle Eastern culture kind of has a love-hate relationship with America. I mean, some of them really love America. Some people really hate America, and just like him going on a journey to find Pamela. He wants to find this Pamela that he really likes, or like saying kind of crazy things about like George Bush. It's like, may George Bush drink the blood of every man, woman, and child in Iraq, or whatever. Just kind of like these kind of crazy lines, but like for what it did, yeah, like it's kind of hit Sacha Baron Cohen signature style. I mean, for the character's an absolute S tier for me, but for the overall movie as a whole, probably more like a B tier for me. But I really like it, and also I really enjoyed the sequel a lot. The sequel was great too, but yeah, I'm gonna say B for Borat.
And we also forget he did the entire press tour in character, like the entire time. Yeah. Like he did every talk show appearance he did, every radio appearance he did. He was completely in character. Like he committed to it like it was a real thing. Like, which I think is pretty spectacular. Again, for the time. I mean, we knew the shtick was up like after that when he started doing Bruno and all that kind of stuff, which is inferior. But like yeah. And by the way, if you haven't gone back and watched the Ali G show, which features Borat stuff and things like that, like the Ali G show is awesome. Like you should go back and check it out. But yeah, Nick.
And you say that though, and like,
go ahead.
I was gonna say that, like I think that there's some people who like weren't even familiar enough with Sacha Baron Cohen that maybe thought that like Borat was a real character. Maybe it was some kind of like reality.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. They marketed it like it was a real reality thing. Like he was going on press tours, just being like, "Please see my movie. If not, I will be executed." People were like, "What?" And like, but to his credit, the movie was a hit. It made like $100 million or something for what it was. So like, Nick.
Yeah, I think you guys both made like solid points here. That whereas like my estimation of the Borat film itself, I think the third act starts to run out of steam a little bit. But like you said, Austin, I think that this movie should score. I think it gets to the S tier for me just because of the cultural significance and the impact, and just sort of we have a lot of spoofs on this list, but we don't really have movies that work as like pure satire and something that really
and a mockumentary. We don't have any mockumentaries on here, which is kind of like unique. Like like this sort of genre.
Yeah, and I think it totally satirized like American politics at the time, and sort of it held a lens up to our own ignorance when it came to other cultures and sort of our like Americans like American politeness to an extent, like the ways in which that we will go along with hateful rhetoric and stuff like that just to be polite, like in certain situations, things like that. I just think it's a really good satire. It was really well timed, and I feel the same way about the sequel. Like the sequel came out at a time in this country where we sort of needed it as a reminder of sort of our worst xenophobic like impulses as a culture. And I think that just the commitment to the bit itself is so admirable. And yeah, like this movie sort of was annoying at some point through no fault of its own, just because of how popular it was, how funny people found it to be. And yeah, it was just so shocking and funny when it came out that I can't ignore that. So yeah, I think that this one could definitely squeeze into the S tier for me. Borat is totally, I think, underappreciated at this time.
Yeah. Malcolm, what do you think for Borat?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones that when you're doing a mockumentary based around a specific character that you're going to be playing the whole movie, I think you have to do the press tour as that character, which is what he did. And because I think, especially if you want to keep up the facade of like that Borat is separate from him as Sacha Baron Cohen, or separate from Ali G, or separate from Bruno. But that being said, I do like this movie. But I do think it's an A though. I can't put it in the S tier per se. I mean, for me, I actually liked Ali G Into House more than I liked Borat, but I don't think Ali G Into House was on this list. So.
Well, it's a straight to DVD, so we didn't include it. It wasn't theatrical.
It was theatrically released for me.
And for y'all overseas, it wasn't theatrical here. Yeah,
maybe so.
I mean, that being said, I thought Walkout was fair. DVD
yeah. Well, we got 2 S's, an A, and a B, which is actually a little bit higher than Pineapple Express, so it might go to the A tier, maybe a little bit higher than Pineapple right there. So it could be in contention for a honorable mention. Maybe we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So I think we'll go to Jordan because Jordan's next, and then I think we'll go into our Hail Mary round and see what else will make it up there because we're about at the 207 mark. So Jordan, what's your last regular pick here?
So my last pick, I want to go with the movie that just makes me laugh because of one single actor in it. I want to go with Rush Hour 2. So I want to find that one on the list. So I think Rush Hour 2 was even better than Rush Hour 1. That kind of amped it up for me. And like for me, like it's like one of the funniest Chris Tucker movies, mostly because I did a special project because I took a lot of video editing classes when I was in high school, and made this video of like the funniest scenes from a bunch of different movies at the time. I remember that I pulled all these scenes from Rush Hour 2, and man, he's just so funny. Where it's like just like the little back and forth things that he says to Jackie Chan, and then to like all the people around, or like talking to like all the Asian people in China, like when he's doing karaoke too, singing Michael Jackson, or it's like, that's Ricky Tan, that looks like a midget in a bathrobe, or it's like put your computer down, and he like slams it, and he's like smashing the guy's computer, and then all the henchmen come after him. And then also too, I know that we're talking strictly comedies here, but like for all the action that Jackie Chan also brings to the table, all the choreographed fight scenes that he gets Chris Tucker in involved with, but like there's just so many lines, and I could quote this whole entire movie almost. It's like where he's like, shoot him, Lee, and he's like, I'm not gonna shoot him. He's like, yes, hell, you can shoot him. All you got to do is pull the trigger back and bam! And like just the way that he's so over the like top and brings so much energy, like it's just so much fun for me. And like Chris Tucker really hasn't done a lot since, and I wish that he kind of would come back to something where he has that much energy that he brings to the table. And it was the last movie that I ever owned on VHS, so I actually have a copy of Rush Hour 2 still on VHS. So yeah, I'm gonna say S tier for Rush Hour 2. See what you guys think.
I love your enthusiasm for it. I really do. But this for me like has just not aged well. Some of the stuff like flat out like because I watched on TV actually fairly recently, and some of the bits just like I was flat out uncomfortable with. Just like
yeah,
because like times have changed and I don't know. I think that like both ways towards both characters. At one point, a character just calls Chris Tucker's character Kobe, which is funny, but like I don't know. Like
yeah,
for me, I like this movie. I have fond memories of watching this movie, but for me, this is a C. I love Chris Tucker. I'd like to see him in more stuff too, but to me, it's like it's an action comedy where it kind of splits the difference between the two, and it doesn't get as many laughs as a lot of these other ones for me. So I'm gonna give it a C.
Yeah. Malcolm, what do you think?
Yeah. I love Rush Hour 2, and I'll back you up on this. I think yes is actually a good place for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's all needs to be said. Austin.
I'm with Nick. It's like a C. I think the original one is actually like more of like an A or a B. I think the original one has a more solid blend of the action and the comedy, with Jackie Chan being more of the fish out of water as opposed to Chris Tucker and the Chinese and the China. I just don't think it works as well with Chris Tucker over there, with Jackie coming over and trying to sort of fit in and trying to work this case. Like I just think it's funnier. I think their chemistry is just better in the first one. I go back to that one way more. Like it's got funny moments. It's got some good action, but it just doesn't. It's entertaining, but like there's just something missing about it. Like I think to have it in the same level as like something super smart like a Hot Fuzz or Step Brothers is kind of a little pushing it for me. So yeah, it's like a C for me too. Mm-hmm.
Well, 2 S's and 2 C's. Maybe it goes about a like low A or high B, something like that.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Somewhere around Rat Race. Yeah.
Low A. So we'll put it there, but yeah. So with that, we're gonna move into the Hail Mary kind of speed round. Do you want to kind of explain how it works, Austin?
Yeah, so we've got a new way of doing this than we used to way back when we kind of first started. So what we're going to do is, and especially for Nick and Malcolm, I don't know if you guys have participated in one of these, but basically of all the stuff we have left over, and if you need to refer to the chat, maybe the list in there, things like that. If there's anything on the list that you still think either goes in S or A, we're strictly aiming for stuff that's kind of high in your estimation. Just shout it out, essentially, like make a little quick list. And what I'm going to do is if there's crossover, so you can name the same ones as somebody else does. If there's crossover, I will take the ones that get mentioned the most with the crossover, and then we'll go back and do kind of a speed grading on those, like, 10, 15 seconds a piece, things like that. So that's kind of how it works to kind of shoot your shot for the final ones before we kind of start ranking and wrapping it up. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll start down there with Nick. I know there's a lot left, but and you can name as many as you want. You can name 2 or 3. You can name 5 or 6, like whatever you want. Like I'm gonna write them. I'm gonna jot them all down, whatever you say. So just go one by one, and then again, if I see some crossover, if 3 people name the same movie, we'll go back and rank that movie if that makes sense. You know what I mean? We'll get grades on it. All right.
Cool. So I'm not even going to waste time with A's because there's a lot of movies that I can see here that I would give an A. Like,
there's a lot of A's. I think there's a lot of really solid movies on here. Yeah.
Yeah, like Super Troopers for me is an A, and Elf is an A, and some other stuff on here is an A. But really, I think there are 3 S's for me personally left on this list. The first and foremost for me is Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I think Forgetting Sarah Marshall is an absolute classic, romantic comedy, but emphasis on the comedy and just incredible characters and memorable stuff in that movie. So I'll say Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I'll say School of Rock, which is just a great family comedy, fun for everyone. Everybody can enjoy it. And the third is the one that I'm surprised that we didn't get a chance to talk about. Talladega Nights is just and absolutely just as good as Anchorman and Step Brothers, in my opinion. Absolutely love it. So those are my 3 S's that I have left on the list.
Okay. All right. I've got them jotted down. Fair enough. And we'll see if they get enough backed up to vote. So we'll see what happens. All right, Malcolm, what would you like to shout out?
Yeah, I've got a few that I'd like to shout out. Like, Zombieland is great. Bruce Almighty, which we kind of sidely talked about a lot of the times, but never actually talked about. High Fidelity, I think, is great. Bedazzled is one of my favorite Brendan Fraser movies. Look, I'm a sucker. I like Austin Powers. Austin Powers Gold Me, but it's great. And then Hitch, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and Idiocracy, I think, are all fun as well.
Oh, you said Harold and Kumar and Idiocracy. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, and the ones I'll go for, I'll actually back up Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. I think it's one of the best, really underrated, smart buddy comedy. I'll go Jackass number 2. I think it's the best of the Jackass movies. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I think it's the purely joke for joke, the best, funniest Kevin Smith movie. Maybe not the best Kevin Smith movie, but I think it's the funniest. I'll back up Nick on School of Rock. I absolutely adore School of Rock, and I think it's a super smart comedy. And then I'll also go Bedazzled as well for Brendan Fraser, and The Hangover, which we haven't talked about. I think The Hangover is a really super smart, fun ensemble movie as well.
Yeah. Well, this one's tough for me because there's a lot that I could shout out, honestly. So I kind of want to not go overboard here, but probably for me the ones I want to mention, definitely Harold and Kumar. I would definitely back up that one. I'd actually would back up Jackass 2. I just gave it a rewatch earlier today. Actually, I haven't seen it in a long time. Give some love to Clerks 2. I'm a huge Clerks 2 fan. Also, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I definitely second that one. Also, I Love You, Man. That's like a really great one that I'm kind of surprised I didn't get a little more love. And let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, Talladega Nights. Yep, I'll definitely do that one. And then probably just 2 more. I would shout out Shaun of the Dead and Wet Hot American Summer. I know nobody mentioned those ones, but I would definitely put them up there. So.
Oh, hang on, I dropped my piece of paper real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Not the one I was shouting down the movies, but the one with the scores on it, because I'm gonna need that one. We'll need that one when we go to rank stuff. Okay, so we didn't have a lot of crossover as far as like all 4 people naming the same one, so I'll just go with the couple that I heard at least 2 people mention. So if you'll talk amongst yourselves and give me a second, I will prep them for my chart. In a second.
One that I want to talk about, while we got a moment, is someone brought up High Fidelity, which I used to love. I don't have a lot of movies on DVD. High Fidelity is one of the few movies that I do have on DVD. I rewatched it recently, and I was like, man, I don't know what happened, but I just have no sympathy for Rob whatsoever in this movie anymore. I'm just like, what? I'm just like, what an asshole start to finish. Like I just like I don't even think he deserves to get the girl back at the end of the movie. Like I'm just like, wow. But Jack Black, what a performance in that. Like what a perfect Jack Black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I've learned is when Jordan was assembling his panel, he got a bunch of people are very widely different things from what they like in comedies. Because it's one of those ones. I think Jordan, you said it on the post, like there's about 40 different obvious S tests for you.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot.
I think most of them probably ended up around the middle area. I mean, the only
a lot of ones that I thought
absolutely really hated was Dickie Roberts, which is the one that's slow.
And look, I'm probably a harsher critic than most. Like, I could be pretty critical. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me while I like.
Well, again, like we talked about, these comedy ones are tough because comedy is the most subjective genre, I think, of any of the genres. Because when you recognize a great drama or a great horror movie or a great science fiction, like even if you don't personally like it, a lot of times you can recognize that it's good, or at least recognize the quality about it. And comedy, it's like, well, it either makes you laugh or it doesn't, and you just don't vibe with it. So you vibe with it or you don't vibe with it. So anyways, I've got 6 movies. Oh, sorry, Jordan. What?
I was gonna say there's a couple of these that like I would maybe put in my personal S tier, but I know that I probably maybe wouldn't get enough votes to maybe back it up, so that's why I didn't mention them. But
and what we can do is even in the comment tomorrow of the poll, maybe be like, hey, personally, I would also put these in the S tier, but the panel probably wouldn't agree with me, whatever. Maybe put our own personal top 10s in there, because I guess our own personal top 10s would be different too. We didn't even talk about Grandma's Boy, and Grandma's Boy is like a super underrated movie, but anyways.
Or like Dodgeball, Me, Myself, and Irene. Some of those would.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on here.
Run like beats here, so it's tough.
Yeah. All right, so we'll roll.
Oh, go ahead.
No. I'm about to prep my thing. So say what you're gonna say, and then we'll get into.
I was just gonna say, In Bruges is one that I was like, is probably like the one that stands out to me as the most different from all the other films on here. But like, I love that movie. It's so funny and so.
I just watched it for the first time yesterday. So yeah.
All right. Well, I've done my cross-referencing of what everybody said. I jotted down everything everybody said. So these are the 6 that at least had 2 crossovers. So what we'll do is we're going to vote on these. So you'll give a letter grade, but it's not going to be like the full minute-long debate, long thing, just like maybe 10, 15 seconds, and a grade. And then if anything makes it up into that S tier or like high A's, we'll go with that. But I'll see. I'll still mark down the votes. So does that make sense to everybody? And that's just kind of how we kind of start the wrap-up process. All right, so the first one is going to be Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. So we'll start with Nick, and we'll just go in the same order each time. So just Nick, we'll start with Nick each time. So Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
This is a B for me.
Okay. All right, Malcolm.
We watched this recently. It's an S.
Harold and Kumar is a personal S for me. I think it's one of the best underrated buddy movies. With a great movie with super low stakes that makes high stakes out of low stakes, I think is amazing. Yeah, how smart it is.
Yeah, that's an absolute S tier for me. Also, like especially Neil Patrick Harris, like popping up, he's awesome in that movie. But like the whole movie in general, S tier. Yeah.
All right. Well, 3 S's and a B, so I think it kind of skirts up, at least hovering around there. So we'll see where it ends up. But and we'll probably only move it if it has any chance of being either top 10 or honorable mention or hovering around there. So we'll see what happens. But we'll see.
But at the bottom of the S tier,
at the low bottom, for now, we'll kind of play around with it. The second one that got 2 mentions was Jackass number 2. So Nick, Jackass number 2.
Another B for me. I love Johnny Knoxville, but this is another B for me.
Yeah,
Malcolm.
I do not get the love for people hurting themselves. F.
Wow.
All right.
I think it's the best of the Jackasses. It's an S tier for me. I love Jackass.
Yeah, for me, I'd say S tier too. I'm a huge Jackass fan. Like the way that they film it too, you almost feel like you're like a part of their crew as a viewer. You really get to know all of them individually. So like I really like that kind of aspect, and I'm excited for the next Jackass coming out. So
Well, with two S's, a B, and an F, it's only going to be maybe around the B tier. So we can move it if you want to into the B tier, or we can just leave it on the chart. That's up to you.
You
Jordan,
just do it for fun.
We'll just put it up. It'll be probably around the B's because that's about the same as what Zoolander had, kind of all over the place. So, all right. Yeah. The next one is going to be School of Rock. So, Nick, School of Rock.
I'm going to give this one an S. It's Jack Black's best movie, hands down.
Malcolm?
Yeah. There's definitely better Jack Black movies. A.
Yeah.
I'm totally on with Nick. I think this is Jack Black's best movie. I think his camaraderie with the kids is spot on. I think it's really smartly written, and the soundtrack is amazing. And I love all the stuff where they're just playing instruments in the school. It's great. S tier. I love School of Rock.
Yeah, this is one of the best theater going experience that I had. I went on a date to go see it, and like me and the girl that I was with, we were just laughing hard the entire time. And like I don't remember laughing that hard in a movie in a long time, but I still kind of give it an A tier for me, like a high A. Like it'd be like right at the top of A for me. So
okay. Well, two S's and two A's, it might hover around maybe near the top of A somewhere, or kind of in contention maybe for an honorable mention. We'll play around with that, but it definitely is going to make it up there. So we shall see. Yeah. Maybe around Borat or Meet the Parents. I mean, again, we haven't picked out specifics, so we'll go and pick specifics when we get there and play around with the rankings. Now, another one I think Malcolm and I both mentioned is Bedazzled with Brendan Fraser. So, Nick.
I'm so sorry, guys, but this one is like a D for me. I'm sorry.
Malcolm.
Yeah. This is Liz Hurley is a sexy devil in this, and I just really love this movie. It's S.
Yeah. Austin.
I kind of love this movie on Malcolm's level. Like I've gone back and watched it a lot. I think it's super fun with all the different characters that Brendan Fraser plays and the different sketches like throughout the movie. And Elizabeth Hurley she's never been sexier than this movie. So I would actually go not a high S, but I go like a low S. I love Bedazzled. I think it's super underrated.
Yeah, and Brendan Fraser, like no matter what he does, you can't help it.
He's entertaining.
Just love the guy. Yeah, he's entertaining. So, but for me though, like I probably wouldn't rank it quite as high. It'd be about a B for me. Is where I would put it. So with that, I don't know if it actually makes
two S's, a B, and a D. It would be like high B, maybe top of B, something like that. If you want to move it, that's up to you. Yeah, just for sake,
for fun.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, maybe up there. B for Bedazzled. Right makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. And two more. So we've got Talladega Nights. We'll start with Nick on Talladega Nights.
Fine.
S tier for me. S tier. Classic.
Malcolm.
Yeah. Malcolm.
Yeah, Talladega Nights is one I've gone back and forth on a lot. But currently I do like it more than Step Brothers. Yes.
Yeah. Austin?
Talladega Nights for me is like a C. I don't go back to it a lot, and it didn't blow me away in the theater. And I've only gone back to it once, and I thought it was too long. I just think it drags. It's kind of one joke stretched out. I'm not a fan of it. C.
For me, I'd give Talladega Nights an S. Actually, I mean, I wouldn't rank it high on the S tier. Probably at the bottom of S tier, but I'd still give it an S. I think it definitely deserves it. So what do we have? A couple S's, and then
I thought Malcolm. I didn't know Malcolm was going to rank it an S. He kind of downplayed it and then gave it an S, which was odd. But all right, but he did. He was kind of like, it's like Will Ferrell that S. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say B.
3 S's and a C. Yeah, so like maybe just like somewhere near the bottom of the S.
Bottom of S or top of A, something like that. Yeah. So I mean, I guess it would be bottom of S for now. Yeah. All right, we got one more, and that is Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah.
So Nick,
what I gotta say about this one? I got Puppets, Aldous Snow, and just very funny Paul Rudd, Jonah Hill cameos. This is an S for me. I love this movie.
Yeah. Malcolm.
Malcolm.
You think?
Yeah. The Phoenix Marshall was fine, but I'd go B.
Yeah.
I'm the same as Malcolm. I think it's fine, but I don't go back to it a lot. It's fun when you're watching it, but it's not one of my favorites. I go B plus.
Yeah, for me, I'd give it a pretty high A tier. So yeah, like it's a lot of fun, but yeah, I'd say A. So I don't know if that's enough to.
All right,
bump
so
it up.
S, A, 2 Bs, maybe like a low A. I don't know if it's going to be in contention.
Yeah, we can just throw it in the A tier.
Maybe around Rat Race or Rush Hour, something like that. All right. But yeah, I think there's a lot of solid movies on the list. I mean, this decade overall, no matter where we rank these, I think was a really solid decade for comedies. I think it was a little bit of something for everybody, and a lot of stars emerged. And it's in contention for one of the best decades for comedy, I would say, pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah, so
all right.
Well, I think
we'll play around with the rankings now.
We want to give an official ranking for the top 10 and then pick 3 honorable mentions out of the A tier. And I think probably Anchorman, like one of the few movies on the list that was unanimous. So I think that probably stays at
I think
number 1.
I think it was the only one that was unanimous.
Anchorman was the only one that's unanimous. Then again, we didn't have Anthony, but Superbad had 5 and then a B, but it was pretty unanimous as well. So I think those two are pretty solid where they are as far as number 1 and number 2, because they were both pretty unanimous. And then it kind of goes into a shaky territory after that, because a lot of these had like 3 S's and a B, or 3 S's and 2 A's, or pretty much everything else on the top 10 had like around the same rankings. So it's really hard to kind of place the rest of these. We'll just kind of have to maybe take some informal polls and see what everybody thinks as far as like a one or the other sort of a thing.
I mean, look, I'd probably put maybe Hot Fuzz like above Hot Rod. I mean, I haven't seen Hot Rod, so I don't know if that's fair. I don't know what the rankings was, but
Hot Rod was unanimous except for Malcolm, who just hadn't seen it. So it had 3 S's, and everybody's pretty enthusiastic about it.
Look, even with that, like I'd put Hot Rod below 40-Year-Old Virgin and Step Brothers for me. Like
I probably would too. I would probably put it like a 5 or a 6. I think 40-Year-Old Virgin and Step Brothers are both overall solid. But I think 40-Year-Old Virgin and Step Brothers are both top 5 pretty easily. But yeah, Hot Rod's a good number 5, because I think it's like it's really great if you love it. Like if you're a fan of it, you love it, and it's pretty irreverent and pretty different.
I really like our top 5. I think the switch that I would make is that I think I would put Step Brothers at 2, and I think I would have Anchorman, Step Brothers, Superbad, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Hot Rod as the top 5. But that's just me personally.
I mean,
I do that.
Step Brothers
I think that's perfect for me.
The rankings, so
yeah.
I would put Step Brothers above Superbad for me personally.
Yeah, same here. I'm all right with that. Yeah, I think it's a perfect spot for it. So
I feel real positive, even though my Zoolander took a massive hit. I feel real positive about the top 5 here.
Yeah.
I'm kind of fine with the rest of these overall. Like, I think Role Models and Walk Hard are both about on the same level for me. I love Hot Fuzz a little bit more, but I realize that the comedy is not as strong, but it's still a good movie. And like, I'm not a big fan of Talladega Nights, but if you guys wanted in the S tier, I'm totally fine with that. But it'd be like near the 10 for me personally. But like maybe near.
I mean, we could always. I mean, I wouldn't have problems switching Harold and Kumar and Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights, yeah. I think Harold and Kumar is a little more solid than Talladega. Just for me personally, but it's still skirts in there.
There's a couple of arguments to maybe move Hot Fuzz up a spot or two, maybe. I mean, I'm fine with maybe bumping it up a little bit. But what do you guys think?
I like it a lot, but I'm okay with where it's at. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I'm fine with the list here. I have no qualms based on what we got.
Sure.
Yeah, same. Well, then we just want to pick 3 honorable mentions. I kind of feel like Borat definitely deserves a spot just because
I think Borat deserves an honorable mention for what it was culturally, like the impact that it had. I think it's definitely got to be at least one of them. Yeah,
I think there's a lot to talk about there. And I also think that School of Rock also. I think these 3
School of Rock and Meet the Parents, because Meet the Parents, again, for how much it bridged the generational gaps, like you said, the parents enjoyed it, like younger people enjoyed it, kind of everybody, like it was a big hit, like everybody dug it, and it's like the best of that awkward situational comedy, you know, like the awkward situations. I think it kind of is, and then School of Rock was a great like family comedy, you know, like it was great for all generations.
I think that's great for both of those movies.
I think three are perfect.
I think School of Rock is the only movie that we have on here that, like, you know, we would feel comfortable showing to like a kid under the age of, like, you know, 13 or whatever. So I'm cool with having that on there too.
I think it's kind of sad that the sequels for Meet the Parents kind of drag it down a little bit. Like without the sequels, maybe Meet the Parents could have made the S tier.
But like, Parents still holds up when you watch it. Like, if you can forget that, like, it still holds up. Like, the humor is still really, really good. Like, it's really smartly written.
Like, the second one is fine, and the third one's kind of bad. So it's like,
I kind of like the second one too. I'm sort of in the Malcolm. I kind of like it. I think Dustin Hoffman and Barbra Streisand are a lot of fun in that movie. Actually, I think they bring a lot of energy to it. But yeah, the third one's atrocious.
I think that second one for me, the problem is that
it has moments. It has its moments.
The back half of it just sort of drags.
Yeah. Well, it gets weird with like them getting thrown in jail and like all kinds of weird shit at the end. Like, it's kind of stupid and cliche, but like I like all the stuff where they're just having dinners and stuff at the beginning and like they're showing off the foreskin and like the maid, you know, and like the baby stuff is actually pretty funny. Like the toddler stuff is.
I don't know if I remember. Was Meet the Fockers an option to nominate for this, or?
I think it was. It might have. I don't know if it was in the list or not. I can't remember.
So I know there's like Scary Movie 1 and 2. There was a handful of sequels.
I mean,
I don't think Meet the Fockers was.
I don't think it was on there, but I think the consensus was always that like Parents was better and Meet the Fockers was hit or miss. So like I don't think we put it in there because we had like 80 movies on this damn list. So it was like we couldn't put everything from every franchise, and like every sequel. But I think this is solid unless anybody else has any objection. Like
I think we did it. Pretty good. I think we did it, team.
Yeah, we did it, guys.
All right. Nice. Excellent. Yeah. So shall I give the final breakdown?
Yeah, if you want to give the breakdown, Austin, go for it.
All right. So at number 1, coming out of the 2000s comedies, we've got Will Ferrell as Ron Burgundy in Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Number 2, we've got another Will Ferrell with John C. Reilly and Step Brothers. At number 3, we've got the One Crazy Night, Superbad. At number 4, we've got Steve Carell as the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Number 5, we've got Andy Samberg in The Lonely Island with Hot Rod. At number 6, we've got the music biopic parody Walk Hard, The Dewey Cox Story. At number 7, we've got Sean William Scott and Paul Rudd in Role Models. At number 8, we've got Edgar Wright's Hot Fuzz. At number 9, we've got the buddy comedy Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Number 10, Will Ferrell squeaking in again with Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. Number 11, we've got the cultural touchstone of Borat, Cultural Learnings of America for Make Benefit, Glorious Nation from Kazakhstan. I know that off the top of my head. I don't know why, but I just do. And number 12, we got Jack Black starring in School of Rock. And at number 13, we've got the very awkward humor of Meet the Parents.
All right, awesome, guys. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, good job, guys. Excellent.
And something that I've been kind of toying around a little bit with. We've been doing different decades for comedies. We already did the 2010s. We did the 90s, and then coming up we have best 80s comedy. So we may end up doing something kind of similar to what we're doing and do with the horror decades where we have a comedy championship round where we take the top 10 list from every decade and just throw them into one episode, and we can
that'd be pretty crazy.
Hash out the best of all time. So yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. So yeah, that's something that's kind of that I've been kind of toying around with the idea of doing that. But yeah, that was a good time. So we'll just wrap it up there. So we'll
go to the plugs. Nick, you got anything to plug?
Hey, come see me at Den of Geek. I got lots of stuff going up. I'll be reviewing Succession this season, so you can check my stuff out there at Den of Geek. You can follow me on Twitter at McMarley. You can check out. I am done for the season, but you can check out some of my matches that I played this year in the movie Trivia Schmodown and the First Class League. And yeah, that's what I got.
All right,
awesome. Malcolm, where can we find you?
You can find me over on Take 3. I host Rankum on on Saturdays. We're going through our horror series at the moment. We're going to be doing 2000's this week, and we're going to have Paige for Betty on there.
Nice.
But you can also find me hosting late night sometimes on Sundays. It's kind of been on and off for me this time, so whether or not I do one is at the year at the moment. And you can also find me hosting trivia and Full Metal trivia. Yeah.
Awesome. And then, Austin, did you have anything you want to plug or talk about?
No, I mean, Jordan will plug most of it. I co-host pretty much a bunch of these shows, tier ranker fights and tournament fights. Nick, if you ever want to be on a tournament fight, that it's a different type of show. It's a lot of fun. Where we and I'll just give you the premise for anybody watching. If you don't know, it's our sister show where we take it's kind of similar in that we take a topic, but we do a March Madness bracket of 64 items of whatever that category might be, and we randomize them in the March Madness bracket. We don't do seeds. We just kind of throw them all over the place, and it's randomized, and then we just vote, do these rapid fire 20 seconds of pop votes until we get to a winner. So it's a lot of fun. We take different topics. The one we're doing immediately in the near future is this Friday. We're going to be doing best serial killer movies, because we're doing some kind of different horror topics for this. Although with that topic, we've got some interesting items in that one where they're not necessarily horror movies. Like the one I've been teasing with is something like Con Air, which features a serial killer, but is not a horror movie, but it counts in the category. So yeah, and things like the Happy Time murders, with the puppets, where there's a serial killer going around killing puppets, so it counts. So there's things like that. We're gonna be throwing all those in, and of course your classics like Silence of the Lambs, things like that. But we're gonna throw them all in a random March Madness bracket and have a lot of fun with that. So that's what's immediately for Friday, and I'm sure Jordan will tell you about some of the other ones we got coming up.
Yeah. So just a couple that we have coming up for our tournament fights and tier ranker fights. So Austin mentioned one with a serial killer coming up. Then doing one for Malcolm coming up next Tuesday. Malcolm's top 64 favorite movies of all time. So he gave me a list of his favorite movies. We're gonna put them through the tournament at 64. We're gonna vote and see which movie comes out on top. So we'll be choosing a new favorite movie for Malcolm.
It's the hottest series amongst the community right now. Everybody's submitting their top 64, and we're throwing them in the bracket and seeing what everybody's new favorite movie is. I've done it. Jordan's done it. Our friend of the show, Chris Scott's done it. Jacob Barber. We've done it. A bunch of the community members, and everybody's got a new favorite movie when it comes out of it. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, is there anybody out there watching that wants to put a list of their 64 favorite movies? We'll do an episode for you. We'll put it through the tournament. We'll have some fun with it. So yeah, just hit me up on Facebook, or we also have an email that's moviehero2121@gmail.com. You can hit me up there. And then also just a couple other ones we have coming up. We're going to be doing best supernatural horror movies coming up. So we got that one kind of going through more of our horror series for the month of October. And then we have our horror movie championship coming up, where we've already done every decade from the 70s all the way to the 2010s. And then we're going to take the top 10 from every episode, and we're going to put them in a championship tournament. So that one's going to be a pretty big cast. We have Mark Edward Hoyk, William Bibiani, and Adam Collins that's kind of been with us on a few of those episodes here and there. So yeah. And then also to round out October, we're doing best basketball movies of all time, because we've been also doing a sports series too, where we've been covering a bunch of different sports. So if there's anything that sounds interesting to anybody watching, this show thrives on having great guests. So if there's anything that you'd like to be a part of, definitely hit me up, and we'll try and get you on the show. Or if you have any ideas too, you can let me know that any ideas for a fun topic to talk about. So that's pretty much where you can find me. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, guys. Thanks again for coming on the show. So
thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're always welcome back.
Appreciate it.
Anytime you want. So but yeah, we'll just call it good there. So for Nick, for Malcolm, for Christy, for Anthony, for Austin, I've been Jordan Movie Hero Anderson, and we will see you guys next time.